Across deserts, jungles, and sunken ruins, countless enigmas from our past remain unsolved. Ancient artifacts carved with unknown symbols, cities built with impossible precision, and relics that defy time itself. Each discovery raises more questions than answers. From forgotten civilizations to unexplained archaeological finds, these mysteries challenge everything we think we know about history and hint at secrets humanity was never meant to uncover. Beneath the scorching sun of the Sahara Desert, hidden in a barren basin near the Sudanese border, lies a site that defies everything we thought we knew about prehistory, the chemical lab of Nabta Playa. At first glance, it seems like nothing more than a scattering of stones in the sand. But look closer, and the picture changes. This forgotten place sits beside the world's oldest known astronomical site, and its strange traces suggest something even more shocking, that over 7,000 years ago, long before the rise of pharaohs or pyramids, someone here may have been experimenting with chemical reactions, controlled fire, and exotic materials in ways that should have been impossible for its time. What was happening in this remote corner of the Sahara? And could this be the earliest spark of science, hidden in the sands of antiquity? What do you think about this mysterious chemical lab? Could this be evidence of early scientific experiments from over 7,000 years ago, or simply the remnants of an ancient ritual we have yet to fully understand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the late 20th century, archaeologists discovered the chemical lab during excavations at Nabta Playa and immediately realized it was unlike any other Stone Age settlement. Instead of simple fire pits or stone tools, the area contained numerous small rock depressions carved into shapes resembling workbenches or material basins arranged in a clear, deliberate pattern. On the surfaces of some of these depressions were scorch marks, while the surrounding soil showed discoloration caused by high heat, a phenomenon rarely seen in sites of the same period. This intentional arrangement suggests they were not used for cooking or ordinary daily life, but were instead designed for a specific purpose, hinting at complex activities that may have involved primitive experiments or special rituals that remain undeciphered to this day. This is the very reason the site earned its nickname, Chemical Lab. Modern geological analyses uncovered striking evidence: non-natural mineral residues. Within the rock basins and soil layers, researchers discovered metal oxides and heat-altered minerals, including hematite iron oxide, quicklime calcium oxide, and even traces linked to silicate compounds deformed under extreme temperatures. These materials do not naturally occur at Nabta Playa and must have been transported from elsewhere. Heat far beyond natural fire. Soil samples revealed crystalline structural changes that only happen when heated to 800–1,000 degrees Celsius temperatures, far exceeding those of typical nomadic campfires. This implies deliberate temperature control aimed at achieving specific reactions rather than mere cooking or warmth. Evidence of sequential reactions. Certain sediment layers transitioned from carbon-rich states to strongly oxidized forms, indicating that materials were repeatedly burned in cycles behavior consistent with rudimentary metallurgy or experimental chemical processes. These findings raise a profound question. Did the people of Nabta Playa understand how to manipulate materials and control chemical reactions 7,000 years ago? The site dates back to 5,000–6,000 BCE, deep into the Neolithic period. At this time, most Sahara and Upper Egyptian communities were nomadic hunter-gatherers or early farmers. The presence of high-temperature alterations and chemically transformed minerals is extraordinary because metallurgy had not yet emerged in the region. It would only appear in the Near East millennia later. This leaves two possibilities. Either the Nabta playa inhabitants developed an independent experimental knowledge base far ahead of their time, or they inherited knowledge from an unknown or lost civilization. Nabta playa is famous for its stone alignments precisely oriented toward the sun, and significant stars such as Orion, indicating that its inhabitants possessed remarkable early astronomical knowledge. Based on this, some archaeologists suggest that the chemical lab might have been used to produce mineral pigments for religious rituals or astronomy-related activities such as body painting or decorating ceremonial objects. However, this theory does not explain the presence of evidence of extremely high temperature heating and the complex chemical transformations of minerals found at the site. This leads to another possibility. The area may represent an early stage of metallurgy, where humans accidentally discovered that heating minerals at high temperatures could produce entirely new substances, marking a pivotal breakthrough in the history of human knowledge. Adding to the mystery is the origin of the materials. Samples of hematite, malachite, copper carbonate, and even volcanic ash residues were found, none of which exist naturally within tens of kilometers of Nabta playa. This indicates that the site's inhabitants transported these materials from afar or were involved in broader exchange networks than previously assumed for prehistoric groups. The scientific community remains deeply divided over the significance of the chemical lab at Nabta playa. Some conservative archaeologists argue that the traces may have resulted from natural phenomena such as lightning strikes or wildfires, which inadvertently caused mineral alterations. However, this view is challenged by the orderly distribution of the evidence, neatly confined within rock, depressions clearly shaped by human hands, indicating deliberate intent. In contrast, many researchers see this as proof of early experimental intelligence, suggesting that the inhabitants of Nabta playa may have deliberately heated minerals and accidentally discovered material transformations, much like how Stone Age humans invented pottery when they realized clay hardened after being exposed to fire. To this day, the chemical lab of Nabta playa remains an unsolved mystery. It is neither purely a habitation site nor solely an observatory, nor can it be definitively proven as a smelting furnace. Yet its findings, metallic oxides, extreme heating, and imported materials challenge conventional views of prehistoric Saharan knowledge. Was this a site where humanity took its earliest steps toward chemistry and metallurgy thousands of years before Egypt and Mesopotamia arose, or merely the remnants of rituals involving fire and minerals whose meaning we no longer understand? Until deeper analyses or future excavations provide clarity, the chemical lab will continue to challenge our understanding of technological progress in early human history. High in the windswept heights of the Tibetan Plateau, where thin air bites at the lungs and snow-clad peaks pierce the heavens, stands a solitary enigma that seems to defy the very fabric of nature. This is the gravity-bent column of Tibet, a towering stone that curves upward as if resisting the pull of Earth itself. Seamless, unbroken, and untouched by time, it holds within its shadow an even greater mystery, a subtle yet undeniable magnetic anomaly that disrupts compasses and confounds modern instruments. For centuries, it has drawn scientists seeking answers, monks who revere it as sacred, and travelers who leave speechless before its impossible form. Is this an accident of geology, or proof that the world still hides secrets we are nowhere near ready to understand? What do you think about the gravity-bent column of Tibet? Is this merely a rare geological phenomenon, or could it be evidence that our planet still hides secrets far beyond our understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Standing before this column, the first thing that astonishes anyone is its shape. Nearly 9 meters tall with a broad, sturdy base, narrowing toward the top, the entire stone mass has a distinct upward curvature as if pulled skyward by an invisible force defying gravity itself. Across the vast Himalayas, no other natural structure bears a comparable form. Typically, tall rock formations erode over time, their weight weather and melting ice gradually tipping them downward. Yet this column seems to defy all such laws, standing upright while bending in a completely illogical way. When geologists conducted detailed surveys, they found the column to be entirely solid and seamless, with no cracks, fissures, or evidence of past movement. This completely ruled out the notion that it was ever pushed, altered, or artificially erected. Not only does it stand alone in its barren surroundings, but it is also firmly anchored into the bedrock beneath, as though the ground itself birthed it through a formation process science has yet to explain. The combination of its gravity-defying curvature and its monolithic, unbroken composition turns this column into a profound mystery, forcing us to ask, is it the result of an extraordinarily rare geological event, or does it conceal natural forces we still fail to understand? The Tibetan Plateau is primarily composed of sedimentary rock layers that have been heavily uplifted due to the collision between the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates, forming a landscape characterized by tilted, faulted, and displaced rock formations. However, when detailed geological maps are compared, this stone column is found to be completely misaligned with the surrounding folds, as if it has not been subjected to the same tectonic forces that shaped the entire Himalayas. Its isolated and unusual form makes it appear like an alien object planted in this land, disconnected from the underlying geology. Some scientists even hypothesize that the column may belong to an entirely different geological era, or that it was thrust upward from deep underground through an extremely rare process never before observed. This striking anomaly only deepens the mystery surrounding its origin. The most mysterious aspect, and the one that has drawn the greatest scientific attention, is the anomalous magnetic field surrounding this stone column. During several expeditions, geophysical research teams equipped with modern instruments such as magnetometers recorded highly unusual results. Within a radius of about 20 meters around the column, their devices detected small but continuous magnetic fluctuations, despite the area lacking any magnetic ores or metallic minerals that could produce such an effect. As they approached the column, compass needles were observed to shift noticeably, and sensors recorded unstable magnetic oscillations occurring in rhythmic pulses, as though an unseen energy source deep underground was influencing the site. Strangely, once outside this radius, the phenomenon disappeared entirely, indicating it is purely localized and confined to the immediate vicinity of the column. Scientists have proposed several hypotheses to explain this. Ancient remnant magnetism. The column may contain minerals magnetized millions of years ago, producing a weak but persistent magnetic field over time. Microgravitational deformation. Some physicists suggest the column's unusual upward bend could be linked to deep structural shifts within Earth's crust that create rare magnetic effects. Localized atmospheric electromagnetic interaction. Due to its high altitude and thin atmosphere, the Tibetan Plateau is known for strong interactions between atmospheric layers and Earth's magnetosphere, which could trigger unusual electromagnetic phenomena around vertical structures. Even so, none of these theories have been conclusively proven. Some research teams even reported stronger fluctuations during full moons or minor seismic tremors in the area. These observations only deepen the mystery, raising the question, Could this stone column be more than a geological anomaly, perhaps tied to physical processes of Earth that remain beyond our current understanding? To locals, this is far more than a geological oddity, it is a sacred pillar. Known as the sky-supporting column, it is believed to have been placed by ancient lamas to maintain the world's balance. According to legend, if it were ever to fall, disaster would befall the plateau. Some monks claim the magnetic anomaly is the breath of the cosmos, and pilgrimages are made to meditate near it, believing its energy links humans to higher realms. Compass deflections and electronic malfunctions are often interpreted as signs of spiritual presence. Today, the gravity-bent column of Tibet remains a subject of debate. It embodies geological oddity, unmeasured physical phenomena, and centuries-old spiritual lore. Its anomalous magnetism still defies explanation, making it a missing piece in our understanding of the Earth. Is it merely an extraordinary geological coincidence, or evidence of deeper physical processes we have yet to comprehend? For now, the answer lies silent amid the thin air and serene silence of the Tibetan plateau, where this lone column continues to stand tall, defying gravity and challenging the boundaries of human knowledge. Amid the vast and untamed landscapes of Kenya, far from modern roads and settlements, lies a mystery that defies time and reason: the compass-like stones of Kenya. These are no ordinary rocks. Smooth as if hand-polished, perfectly tapered like ancient needles, they seem to whisper of a knowledge long forgotten. Stranger still, when placed on a flat surface, they slowly turn, aligning themselves unerringly to the north and south, as though guided by an invisible hand. Yet no tribe claims them, no historical record mentions them, and science has yet to explain their existence. Are they remnants of a vanished civilization, relics of some prehistoric technology, or simply nature's most baffling trick? Whatever their origin, these stones challenge everything we think we know about the past. What do you think about this mystery? Are these stones relics of a vanished civilization, a form of prehistoric technology we don't yet understand, or simply a rare natural phenomenon? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your ideas. The compass-like stones of Kenya possess an extraordinarily unusual shape, elongated flat and pointed at one end, resembling ancient directional needles or arrowheads. What is astonishing is that their surfaces are so smooth they appear almost meticulously polished, an attribute difficult to form naturally, especially in Kenya's dry, wind-swept, semi-desert environment. Many samples also display tiny thermal cracks, suggesting they were once exposed to extremely high temperatures or underwent abnormal mineral transformations. When compared to natural stones in the region, their differences in texture, refinement, and form are so striking that they can hardly be considered coincidental, forcing researchers to question whether they might be the result of a man-made process or an exceedingly rare geological phenomenon that science has yet to explain. The most astonishing aspect of the compass-like stones of Kenya is their mysterious ability to orient themselves. When placed on a flat surface, these stones tend to slowly rotate and stop along a north-south axis, almost perfectly aligning with the Earth's magnetic field. Analysis has shown that they contain no metallic cores or strong magnetic minerals such as iron ore or magnetite, which are typically necessary to produce compass-like effects. Yet magnetic field instruments still detect a faint but stable magnetism sufficient to sustain this orientation phenomenon. The combination of their precise shape and self-aligning ability has raised numerous questions. Could these be ancient navigational tools deliberately crafted by a lost civilization, or are they merely the result of an extremely rare natural process that science has never before observed. The unexplained origin of the compass-like stones of Kenya is at the heart of the most heated debates. What makes them so mysterious is the complete absence of any historical records, legends, or cultural traces from local tribes mentioning their creation or use. Indigenous communities who have lived in the region for generations firmly state that they had never seen or heard of these stones before researchers brought attention to them. This total lack of historical context raises a series of perplexing questions. If these are natural phenomena, why do they possess such precise shapes and smooth, polished surfaces if they are man-made? Which culture created them, and in what era were they crafted? More importantly, why has there been no discovery of tools, workshops, or related artifacts around the sites where they were found? Some archaeologists suggest that these stones may be remnants of a prehistoric civilization previously unrecorded, one that existed before the Bantu or Cushitic peoples, who are considered the earliest known inhabitants of East Africa. If this hypothesis is true, it would force us to rewrite the region's history, revealing that advanced ancient cultures with extraordinary knowledge once thrived there, only to vanish entirely, leaving behind nothing but these scattered artifacts. Even more radical theories propose that these stones might not belong to any known human civilization at all, but could instead be relics from tens of thousands of years ago, when early humans, or perhaps another intelligent hominin, had already learned to understand and harness mineral magnetism to create directional tools. However, due to the absence of carbon dating results or definitive stratigraphic evidence, such theories remain speculative, leaving the true origin of these stones well beyond the reach of modern science. From a geological perspective, some scientists suggest that these stones might have formed under unique geomagnetic conditions, where magnetic minerals within the rocks aligned with the Earth's north-south magnetic field during crystallization. However, this does not account for the unusually smooth surfaces or the scattered distribution of these stones, which do not correspond to any single geological formation. Even more puzzling, they retain stable orientation over vast time spans, despite the shifts in Earth's magnetic field over millennia, an unlikely feat if they were purely natural products. These compass stones now occupy a gray area between mainstream archaeology and fringe research. While some scientists view them as fascinating natural anomalies worth further study, others see them as evidence of long-lost ancient knowledge. The total silence of both written and oral traditions regarding their origin only deepens the enigma. Kenya is already famous as a cradle of humanity, home to critical paleoanthropological sites in the Great Rift Valley. The discovery of such stones in this region hints at the possibility of a hidden prehistoric layer of civilization, demanding deeper investigation from researchers worldwide. To this day, the compass-like stones of Kenya remain without a definitive explanation. They stand as a reminder that countless aspects of our past remain untouched by modern science. Are they merely natural products shaped by rare geomagnetic conditions? Or are they truly the relics of an ancient vanished civilization, one that understood magnetism long before the invention of the compass? For now, the answer eludes us, cementing these stones as one of Africa's and the world's most perplexing archaeological mysteries. Deep within the rugged limestone mountains of Albania lies a place unlike anything else on Earth. A cave where sound itself disappears. Step inside, and the world goes silent. No echoes, no whispers, not even the faintest trace of your own footsteps. It's an unsettling void of silence so profound that it feels almost alien. But the greatest mystery of all isn't just the way it swallows sound, It's the unanswered question that haunts scientists and explorers alike. Who discovered this cave, and why do faint, ancient markings cover its walls if no one was ever supposed to be here? For decades, researchers have tried and failed to unravel the enigma of the Lost Sound Cave of Albania, a place where geology, psychology, and perhaps even forgotten history collide. If you had the chance to step into the Lost Sound Cave, would you dare to experience that absolute silence? Do you think you would feel calm, or would you be overwhelmed by anxiety and fear? Share your thoughts and choice in the comments below. Stepping into the Lost Sound. Cave visitors are immediately engulfed by a dense silence so oppressive that it feels almost physical. Every familiar sound, from footsteps to the rustle of clothing, even the steady beat of one's heart, seems to echo only inside their own head, never resonating outward into the space around them. This sensation has led many to describe it as feeling completely severed from the outside world. Specialized acoustic instruments placed within the cave have recorded sound levels dropping close to 0 dB, equivalent to those found in man-made anechoic chambers built with advanced technology. Yet astonishingly, this phenomenon occurs naturally within an ancient limestone cave that has never been altered or developed. Acoustic scientists have tested numerous hypotheses. Some believe the effect is caused by an ultrafine crystalline mineral layer coating the cave walls, which possesses an extraordinary ability to absorb sound waves. However, upon analysis, its composition failed to match any known mineral commonly found in the Balkan region. This raises a profound question. How could these crystals have formed in such an isolated environment, virtually devoid of typical geological activity? The Lost Sound Cave is not only famous for its ability to completely eliminate sound, but also for the intense psychological effects it induces. After just a few minutes inside, many people report experiencing severe disorientation, overwhelmed by a suffocating silence, unlike anything else. Some even suffer from auditory hallucinations, hearing faint whispers or echoes of sounds that don't exist. Neuroscientists suggest this phenomenon may be linked to infrasound waves combined with absolute silence, depriving the brain of any auditory input. In such a state, the brain compensates by generating false sounds to fill the sensory void, resulting in hallucinations. While science offers an explanation, the experience is powerful enough to convince many that this cave harbors something beyond the limits of human understanding. The origin of Lost Sound Cave remains one of the greatest unsolved questions. If it were merely a natural limestone cave, it wouldn't have left scientists so perplexed. What makes this place truly mysterious are the faint markings found inside primitive lines etched into the rock walls, difficult to determine whether they are symbols, characters, or simply natural cracks formed over time. Some archaeologists believe these could be traces of prehistoric humans, suggesting the cave was once used for rituals or sacred practices. If this hypothesis is correct, it would mean that ancient people not only discovered the cave, but also recognized its unusual acoustic properties and intentionally utilized them in religious or trance-inducing ceremonies, an understanding far beyond what we typically attribute to them. However, there are opposing views claiming that these markings are simply natural fractures in the limestone altered over thousands of years by erosion and mineral deposits. Yet even if this is true, the question of how the sound-absorbing mineral layer formed remains unanswered. Geologists point out that the cave's internal strata do not align with any known geological formations in the region, raising suspicions that it may be connected to a rare or entirely undocumented geological process. Most strikingly, some bold researchers propose that Lost Sound Cave may not be entirely natural. They suggest that its internal structure its sound-canceling effect, and its unusual mineral deposits could be remnants of an ancient man-made construction built by a long-lost civilization. While no direct evidence currently supports this theory, it continues to captivate those who believe human history may have overlooked entire chapters about prehistoric civilizations, with advanced knowledge now reduced to hidden traces buried deep beneath the earth. For decades, international research teams have brought advanced measuring equipment into Lost Sound Cave, but the results have been fraught with difficulties. Many devices that functioned perfectly outside began to malfunction inside the cave, experiencing signal interference or breaking down after only a short period. The data collected has largely been fragmented, inconsistent, and insufficient to form any definitive scientific conclusions. The extreme sound cancellation phenomenon, combined with the cave's unusual minerals and unexplained markings, continues to challenge scientists. As a result, Lost Sound Cave has maintained its reputation as one of Europe's greatest acoustic and archaeological mysteries, where every attempt to decode its secrets has ended in deadlock, leaving behind profound questions about its true nature and origins. Lost Sound Cave is not just an acoustic anomaly, it highlights the vast gaps in our understanding of Earth's hidden past. Is it merely the result of an extraordinarily rare, natural process spanning millions of years, or is it a lingering trace of forgotten ancient knowledge? Until these questions are answered, Lost Sound Cave will stand as a testament to the limits of science, a reminder that our planet still holds secrets that defy explanation. Deep in the windswept deserts of southern Peru, beneath layers of shifting sand, archaeologists uncovered a discovery that defied everything we thought we knew about human history. In the 1920s, Julio C. Tello unearthed a series of ancient burial chambers on the Paracas Peninsula, and inside lay hundreds of skeletons, with skulls so unnaturally elongated, so strikingly alien in appearance, that they immediately challenged the limits of conventional science. Dating back roughly 3,000 years, these remains belong to a culture unlike any other in the ancient Andes, leaving behind not only extraordinary artifacts, but also one of the most perplexing and hotly debated mysteries in archaeology. Who were these people? And why did their skulls look nothing like ours? What do you think about this discovery? Were the elongated skulls of Paracas simply the result of an ancient cultural ritual, or did they truly belong to a group of people with a mysterious, unknown origin? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. The Paracas skulls stand out for their unusually elongated shape, far beyond what has been documented in artificial cranial deformation practices seen in other ancient cultures. Measurements indicate they are approximately 20–25% longer than modern human skulls, with cranial capacity increased by up to 25%, and significantly thicker bone structure. This is particularly noteworthy because common cranial deformation techniques, such as cradleboarding, only alter the outer shape without affecting internal volume or bone thickness. This difference has led many researchers to question whether these were innate biological traits, suggesting a completely distinct ancient human group, or simply the result of an extreme form of skull elongation ritual practiced within Paracas culture. This conflict in interpretation has sparked intense debate over the true identity of these enigmatic individuals, making them a focal point of modern anthropological and archaeological research. Julio Tello discovered over 300 skeletons in the burial chambers of Paracas, preserved thanks to the extremely arid desert climate, which kept the bones, soft tissues, and even hair intact for millennia. Remarkably, some skulls had red or light brown hair, an unusual trait among ancient South American populations who predominantly had straight black hair. This detail raised many questions about their genetic origins. Could it be evidence of genetic mixing with distant populations, or simply a rare trait within the Paracas community itself? This factor has made these remains a focal point of anthropological research. In recent years, DNA studies on the Paracas skulls have produced many controversial results. Some preliminary analyses revealed genetic markers linked to haplogroups commonly found in Europe and the Middle East, an entirely unexpected finding that contradicts our current understanding of human migration routes in South America. This has raised speculation that the Paracas individuals may have had mixed ancestry from populations outside the Andes region. However, scientists caution that these DNA samples have been affected by nearly a century of substandard preservation, leading to a high risk of contamination and inaccuracies. Therefore, while intriguing, these findings cannot yet be considered definitive evidence and require more comprehensive studies using modern techniques and rigorous contamination controls to determine their true origins. The incomplete DNA data has given rise to bold hypotheses about the origins of the Paracas skulls. Some researchers suggest they may have belonged to an ancient human branch that went extinct or was assimilated, possessing biological traits entirely distinct from later Andean populations. This hypothesis raises the possibility that there were once groups of people who migrated from distant lands, perhaps crossing oceans or traveling through routes not documented in conventional history, to settle in South America at a very early time. However, these communities seem to have mysteriously vanished, leaving no trace behind other than the Paracas burial chambers. The absence of additional evidence has made their true origin one of the greatest unanswered questions in modern archaeology. Some scholars argue that the anomalies of the Paracas skulls can be explained by artificial cranial deformation rituals combined with rare genetic factors and specific nutritional conditions. According to this view, binding and reshaping the skull from infancy when the cranial bones are still soft and malleable could produce the distinctive, elongated shape. Furthermore, if an individual possessed genetic traits that promoted cranial growth along with a mineral-rich diet, this could result in a significantly different appearance compared to normal humans. However, this explanation faces difficulties when confronted with evidence of unusually thick cranial bones and enlarged cranial capacity, which are not easily achieved through external manipulation alone. This contradiction has prolonged scientific debate, dividing researchers between the cultural and biological hypotheses. The mystery of the Paracas skulls has fueled many unconventional hypotheses that go beyond traditional science. Some perspectives suggest they could be evidence of the existence of hybrid beings between humans and another unknown group, while bolder theories link them to an ancient extraterrestrial civilization. Although these claims lack solid scientific foundations, they continue to attract interest due to the allure of the unknown and the gaps in our understanding of their true origins. It is precisely this absence of definitive answers that has kept such theories actively debated among the public. Today, scientists are using 3D imaging technology, CT scans, and next-generation DNA analysis to study in detail the structure and origins of the Paracas skulls. These techniques allow for precise reconstruction of cranial shapes, comparison of anatomical features with other ancient populations, and deeper examination of genetic data than ever before. However, until comprehensive DNA results are published in peer-reviewed scientific journals, the true origin of these remains will remain an unsolved mystery, continuing to drive researchers in their quest for answers. Beneath the crystal blue waters of Jeju Island, lies a secret few have ever seen: massive stone monuments, older than recorded history, silently resting on the seafloor. These are the submerged dolmens of Jeju, enigmatic megaliths, whose origins blur the line between archaeology and myth. Were they once built on dry land and swallowed by a rising sea, or deliberately aligned beneath the tides to mirror the heavens above? Their precise astronomical orientation hints at a lost world where ancient people tracked the sun and stars with a mastery we still struggle to understand. Today, they stand as Korea's own Stonehenge beneath the waves, daring us to question everything we thought we knew about prehistory, the cosmos, and the hidden chapters of human civilization. What do you think about these submerged dolmens? Were they once built on land and later swallowed by rising seas, or were they intentionally constructed to mirror the sky above as an ancient astronomical observatory? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Unlike most dolmens in Korea, which are typically found on highlands or low hills, Jeju's dolmens lie on the seabed, located 200 to 500 meters offshore at depths of 5 to 15 meters. They share the same basic structure as traditional dolmens: massive, upright stones supporting a large horizontal capstone, but their submerged position prompts a critical question. Were they originally built on land and later submerged due to rising sea levels, or were they intentionally placed in water for ritual purposes? This submersion is believed to be linked to post-Ice Age sea level rise, when melting glaciers caused ocean waters to engulf coastal areas. As a result, Jeju's dolmens serve not only as archaeological treasures, but also as geological witnesses to the region's ancient environmental history. Geological studies and sediment analysis indicate that these dolmens date back approximately 4,000 to 4,500 years, corresponding to the late Neolithic to early Bronze Age. This was a period when early agricultural communities were beginning to form on the Korean peninsula, yet the quarrying, transport, and assembly of stone slabs weighing tens of tons to construct dolmens demonstrate a level of social organization and engineering far beyond what one might expect of a primitive island society. This raises the question: how did the ancient inhabitants of Jeju, with limited resources, accomplish such monumental feats? Some theories suggest they used large wooden rafts to transport the stones along the coast when sea levels were lower, while others emphasize the use of levers, wooden sled systems, or techniques similar to those seen at other megalithic sites. In either case, the sheer scale and precision of these dolmens reflect the ingenuity, resource mobilization, and advanced knowledge of Jeju's ancient people. What truly sets Jeju's submerged dolmens apart is their deliberate, non-random layout. Many are arranged in straight lines, arcs, or clearly defined clusters. When compared with astronomical data, researchers noticed striking alignments with the positions of sunrise and sunset during the summer and winter solstices, key points in ancient agricultural calendars and rituals. Some dolmens appear to be oriented directly toward the sunrise on the summer solstice, while others align with the sunset during the winter solstice. Using computer simulations to recreate the night sky from 4,000 years ago, archaeologists confirmed that these dolmen sites could indeed have been used to track solar cycles. This suggests they were not merely tombs, but also functioned as ritual sites or primitive astronomical observatories, crucial for both spiritual and agricultural purposes. Some scholars compare them to Stonehenge in England, where megalithic stones align with solar and lunar paths. If accurate, Jeju's dolmens may represent one of East Asia's earliest astronomical centers, proving that prehistoric islanders possessed sophisticated knowledge of celestial movements and their influence on seasonal patterns. If these dolmens were astronomically aligned, they offer a glimpse into the spiritual worldview of Jeju's ancient people. Aligning stone structures with major celestial events implies reverence for the sun-moon or cosmic forces seen as governing life. Solstices could have been times of major communal ceremonies, with dolmens serving as sacred gateways connecting the human world with the cosmos. Notably, some dolmens display an open gate formation, two upright stones standing parallel, but with the capstone shifted or missing. This layout supports theories that these were ritual pathways facing the rising sun, symbolizing a soul's journey or nature's cycle of death and rebirth. Beyond their astronomical links, these submerged dolmens provide crucial evidence of ancient climate change. When built, they likely stood on dry land or low coastal plains. Post-Ice Age sea level rise gradually engulfed the area, preserving them underwater. As such, they serve as direct proof of dramatic environmental transformations faced by ancient humans, while also highlighting their ability to adapt and choose sacred sites tied to both land and sky. Studying these dolmens is extremely difficult. Archaeologists rely on advanced diving techniques, sonar mapping, and 3D modeling to record their structure and precise alignment. Strong currents and poor visibility around Jeju add further complications. Moreover, they face threats from scuba tourism, strong waves, and natural erosion. Preserving them requires integrated efforts between underwater archaeology and marine environmental management. The submerged dolmens of Jeju Island open a window into Korea's distant past while posing profound questions about prehistoric knowledge, rituals, and astronomy. If the astronomical alignment theory holds true, these dolmens stand as rare evidence that ancient East Asian societies linked architecture with celestial movements on par with the world's most famous megalithic sites. They may not be mere tombs, but rather an underwater ceremonial astronomical complex where ancient people observed the skies, marked time, and practiced cosmic-linked beliefs. Until deeper research is done, Jeju's submerged dolmens remain an unsolved mystery, a reminder that beneath the waves, history still lies hidden. Buried beneath layers of volcanic ash and time itself, the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum are unlike anything else ever uncovered in archaeology. Sealed away in the doomed Roman town of Herculaneum after Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, they lay hidden for nearly 2 millennia, silent witnesses to a world that perished in fire. When archaeologists finally uncovered the site, they discovered more than 1,800 papyrus scrolls locked inside a villa's library, a treasure trove of knowledge thought forever lost. Yet what truly stunned researchers wasn't just their survival in an inferno that should have reduced them to ash. It was the baffling, almost otherworldly material that preserved them, a substance so strange and resilient that even modern science has yet to unravel its secrets. These scrolls are not merely relics. They are enigmas, hinting at a forgotten mastery of materials and a doorway into the intellectual soul of the ancient world. What do you think about this mystery? Did the ancient Romans truly possess material crafting techniques far beyond our understanding today? Or was this simply a strange coincidence of nature that accidentally preserved these scrolls? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The most astonishing aspect of the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum is how they survived the catastrophic volcanic eruption. When torrents of lava and thick ash from Vesuvius engulfed Herculaneum, the entire library was buried under heat, estimated to reach several hundred degrees Celsius, enough to completely incinerate any organic material. Yet instead of burning to ash, these papyrus scrolls underwent a process of carbonization, transforming them into brittle, coal-black forms. This phenomenon unintentionally created a natural protective shell, preserving their internal structure and sealing their written content for nearly 2,000 years. As a result, each scroll became a perfect time capsule, locking away ancient knowledge and granting us a rare, unparalleled chance to directly access the thoughts, literature, and philosophy of the Roman-era wisdom once believed to be lost forever. One of the most debated aspects of the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum is the nature of their material. Initially, these scrolls were believed to be made of ordinary papyrus, the type commonly used in ancient Egypt and Rome. However, modern microscopic and chemical analyses revealed something entirely different. Their papyrus fibers exhibited extraordinary durability and remarkable heat resistance, far surpassing any known samples from the same era. Using Raman spectroscopy and isotopic analysis, researchers detected the presence of trace minerals such as silica and magnesium, as well as even faint traces of metals like iron and copper. This discovery sparked the hypothesis that these scrolls may have been treated with a mineral solution or special chemical compounds representing a method of document preservation lost over millennia. Some scholars believe that wealthy Roman libraries might have soaked papyrus in solutions designed to resist moisture mold and insect damage. Surprisingly, this technique could have inadvertently endowed them with heat resistance, allowing them to carbonize stably rather than burn completely. Moreover, analyses showed that Herculaneum papyrus had unusually high density and a smooth, polished surface, as if it had been crafted using exceptionally advanced manual techniques. These findings raise an intriguing question. Could ancient people have possessed a level of materials science far beyond what we imagine today, and might these scrolls be tangible proof of a long-lost knowledge? When comparing the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum with other papyri damaged in similar disasters, the difference is truly striking. Most ancient manuscripts exposed to high temperatures are completely incinerated, leaving behind only worthless ash. However, the scrolls from Herculaneum reacted in an unusual way. Instead of burning away, they underwent stable carbonization, preserving their layered structure and the contents within. This phenomenon has never been documented at any other site, leading researchers to believe that the material from which they were made is entirely unique. This has sparked the hypothesis that ancient techniques for crafting or treating papyrus may have reached a level of sophistication unknown to modern science, containing valuable clues to long-lost knowledge. Due to the extreme fragility of the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum, manual unrolling is impossible, as even the slightest touch could cause them to crumble into carbon dust. To decipher their contents, scientists have employed X-ray phase contrast tomography combined with deep learning AI. This technique generates ultra-detailed 3D images, allowing researchers to reconstruct the scroll's layered structure without physically handling them, while also detecting faint traces of carbon-based ink. Through this method, they have been able to read ancient Greek philosophical texts, including works by Philodemus, a disciple of Epicurus, as well as passages never before known. This technology not only restores lost writing, but also opens a gateway to exploring a vast repository of ancient knowledge once thought to be gone forever. If all 1,800+ fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum were deciphered, they would represent the most valuable repository of ancient knowledge ever discovered, containing profound insights into the philosophy, literature, and science of ancient Rome and Greece. Beyond reconstructing the intellectual and cultural landscape of that era, studying their unique material composition also has the potential to revolutionize heritage preservation science and modern materials research. These discoveries could lead to new methods for protecting documents, ancient books, and priceless manuscripts from extreme heat and harsh environmental conditions, while also reviving crafting techniques that have been lost for thousands of years. The existence of the fire-safe scrolls of Herculaneum is more than an archaeological marvel. It raises profound questions. Did ancient civilizations possess sophisticated material technologies that we have forgotten? And if so, could these carbonized scrolls be the key to rediscovering that lost knowledge? Deep within the shadowed cliffs of Maharashtra lies a secret that has defied time, fire, and science itself. The Ajanta caves are home to paintings so vivid they seem untouched by the passing of 2,000 years murals that survived fires, humidity, and decay with their brilliance intact. But their endurance is only half the mystery. Hidden within their colors is a puzzle that has baffled scientists for decades. Pigments unlike anything known to history, with no traceable origin and no modern equivalent. How did ancient artisans create paints that could resist heat and time itself? And what knowledge have we lost in the millennia since their creation? These are not just paintings, they are a window into a forgotten mastery, one that seems almost impossible even today. What do you think about this mystery? Is it simply the result of the extraordinary skill of ancient artisans that we have yet to uncover? Or could it be evidence of a lost knowledge far beyond what humanity understands today? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. The Ajanta murals painted between the 2nd century BCE and the 6th century CE depict religious scenes, daily life, and images of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. What is remarkable is that despite enduring thousands of years, layers of dust mold, and even medieval fires, their colors remain astoundingly vibrant. Shades of gold, green, crimson, and blue still display saturation and depth that even Renaissance paintings, preserved in modern museum conditions, struggle to match. This has driven scientists to conduct extensive chemical analyses using advanced spectroscopic methods and scanning electron microscopy. Yet their findings have only deepened the enigma. Many pigments in Ajanta's murals do not match any known mineral samples or organic compounds recorded in the corpus of ancient chemistry. Some pigments possess unusual molecular structures, displaying heat resistance and durability far beyond that of natural pigments. Recent studies have employed advanced analytical technologies such as X-ray fluorescence, XRF, and Raman spectroscopy to examine the chemical composition of the pigments in the Ajanta paintings, and the results have been truly astonishing. Scientists discovered the presence of rare minerals such as lapis lazuli and hematite in unusually high purity, suggesting that ancient artisans might have known how to refine or process them, using methods never recorded in any historical texts. Even more remarkable, certain pigment layers contain inorganic compounds that do not naturally exist in the Ajanta region and are completely inconsistent with the local geology. This discovery has led to two main hypotheses. Either the artisans imported these materials from distant regions through an extensive trade network far beyond our conventional understanding of ancient India, or they possessed transformative techniques that modern science still cannot replicate. Furthermore, some researchers observed the phenomenon of self-forming nanocrystals within the pigment layers, microscopic particles capable of reflecting light stably for millennia. Their presence has drawn comparisons to high-tech materials in modern engineering, such as heat-reflective coatings, raising the bold question: did the Ajanta artisans unintentionally or deliberately create a form of proto-nanotechnology in antiquity? This is precisely what elevates the Ajanta mystery beyond an art story into a profound challenge to the entire scope of modern scientific knowledge. In addition to the pigments themselves, the painting technique and the mysterious underlayer played a crucial role in preserving the Ajanta murals for thousands of years. Instead of painting directly on the rock surface, ancient artisans applied an extremely fine base layer made from a mixture of clay, plant, ash tree resin, and processed lime. This underlayer not only helped the pigments adhere firmly, but also formed a barrier that prevented moisture from seeping in from the cave walls. Remarkably, modern analyses have revealed that this base layer contains unidentified mineral microparticles capable of crystallizing into an ultra-thin protective film that resists chemical erosion and microbial damage. This mechanism effectively inhibited mold growth in the cave's humid environment. As a result, despite exposure to harsh tropical conditions, most of the Ajanta murals have remained nearly intact, requiring only gentle cleaning to reveal their vivid colors as if freshly painted. This stands as clear evidence of the sophisticated material knowledge of the ancient world, far surpassing what was previously understood. For decades, conservation teams have tried to replicate Ajanta's pigment formulas based on modern analysis, but all experiments have fallen short. Even with synthetic materials and advanced techniques, no reproduction has matched the mural's fire resistance or color fastness. This failure has led many scholars to wonder, could Ajanta be preserving a lost body of knowledge, a kind of craft chemistry, passed down through generations of artisans and lost after the decline of Buddhism in the region? Or does this point to evidence of a technological sophistication unrecognized by mainstream history? Beyond scientific explanations, some spiritual traditions propose that Ajanta's colors were consecrated through ritualistic practices or infused with sacred symbolic materials. Ancient Buddhist texts even describe purification rituals involving fire before the completion of murals, perhaps linked to their unusual heat-resistant qualities. Although lacking definitive proof, this fusion of art, religion, and unexplained chemistry further cements Ajanta's position as a crossroads of mystery, blurring the lines between science and the metaphysical, while challenging our conventional understanding of ancient civilization. The Ajanta murals are not only artistic masterpieces, but also an unresolved puzzle about our ancestors' knowledge. Most intriguingly, the enigma of unidentified pigments transcends art history to become a question that bridges science, culture, and history. Until the day we uncover their secrets, Ajanta will remain a living testament to the possibility that ancient humanity possessed skills and understanding far beyond what we imagine today. On the remote southern ridges of Crete, far from tourist trails and ancient Minoan palaces, lies a cavern that defies both nature and history. Known to a few geologists and whispered about in archaeological circles, the star-shaped cavern of Crete presents a geometric oddity in the heart of the island's limestone folds. Its walls radiate outward from a central chamber in 8 symmetrical arms, creating a perfect star-shaped floor plan, as if it were carved intentionally with precision tools and purpose. What do you think? Could a formation this precise truly be natural, or was it shaped by something or someone? Drop your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you believe. But perhaps the greatest mystery of all lies not in its shape, but in what isn't there. Unlike other caves in Crete, especially those associated with ancient settlements, this cavern contains no human remains, no pottery shards, no bone fragments, no tool marks, no signs of occupation at all. It is as if no human ever set foot inside, and yet the structure feels designed. The absence of cultural layers puzzled researchers deeply. Even more puzzling is what was found. Deep within the cavern's central dome, embedded within the natural rock, are clusters of crystalline minerals that don't match anything in the surrounding geology. These formations, mostly violet to deep indigo, exhibit strange optical qualities, refracting light in odd ways and responding to magnetism. Tests suggest they are variants of fluorite and an unidentified rare earth compound, possibly altered by ancient geothermal processes. But why are these crystals only found in this one chamber, and why arranged in concentric halos around the central floor? Some propose a natural explanation: rare geological conditions. Others aren't so sure. The spatial distribution seems too precise, especially since no other cave in the region displays similar deposits. Theories range from forgotten ritual sites to natural anomalies revered by ancient peoples to even meteorite impact residues, though no firm evidence supports that. Yet, what makes this cavern even more haunting is the silence of history. It is absent from Minoan Greek and Roman maps. No mention in myths, no whispers in the oral tradition of nearby villages, as if it had been erased, hidden, or deliberately forgotten. A place untouched not just by human hands, but by human memory. In a land so saturated with human history, where nearly every hill and grove carries myth or ruin, the emptiness of this place speaks louder than any inscription. It challenges our understanding of what it means to be ancient, and reminds us that sometimes the most profound mysteries aren't buried under layers of civilization, but hidden in clean, untouched stone, glittering faintly in violet light. The cracked tablets of Georgia Caucasus, mysterious fractured stone tablets discovered in the Caucasus region, have long stood as one of the greatest enigmas of archaeological research across Eurasia. Scattered across mountain slopes and caves in Georgia, these tablets astonish not only because of their unusual shape and engraved symbols, but also due to their perplexing origin, unclear purpose, and extraordinary craftsmanship, none of which have been conclusively explained to this day. What do you think these cracked tablets were really used for? A message, a ritual, or something else entirely? Let us know your theory in the comments below. The first striking feature of these tablets is their fractured condition. But these are not random cracks caused by natural erosion. Instead, they appear to be intentional splits executed with precision. Many tablets are cracked symmetrically down the middle, or diagonally, as if they were once part of a larger structure that was later deliberately broken, possibly for ritual purposes or to separate knowledge among specific groups. Some researchers describe them as split manuscripts. Only when the pieces are correctly rejoined does the full message become apparent. What troubles archaeologists even more are the symbols carved into the surfaces, a system of writing that does not match any known script, including those of ancient civilizations once thriving in the Caucasus, such as the Sumerians, Hittites, or early Armenian cultures. These symbols are often repeated, resembling religious or coded inscriptions, possibly tied to mythology or ritualistic practices. However, there is no contextual material, no accompanying structures, pottery, or datable artifacts, making it nearly impossible to determine their age or function. They are essentially orphaned tablets, floating in history without any cultural anchor. This is by far the most controversial and astonishing aspect of the tablets. Most are made from extremely hard materials, such as granite or metamorphic rock, which are notoriously difficult to carve without specialized tools. And yet the engravings are remarkably deep, uniform, and sharply defined. The carved lines are smooth, showing no signs of cracking or rough edges, as one would expect from primitive chiseling. Instead, they suggest a carving method involving controlled pressure or heat, almost as if burned or pressed into the stone. This level of precision far exceeds the known technological capabilities of ancient peoples in the Caucasus region. Some geologists and material scientists have even remarked that the marks resemble those made by modern tools such as metal cutters or lasers, not by hand chisels or stone tools. Could this be evidence of a lost prehistoric civilization with technology far ahead of its time? Or are these the relics of a secretive culture whose techniques were never recorded? One theory suggests that the intentional cracks and precise carvings were part of a religious ritual, where the tablets were created meticulously, then purposefully broken to prevent outsiders from accessing sacred knowledge. Some tablets even have inscriptions that run across the fracture lines, indicating that they were engraved first, then split, adding a layer of mystery to their purpose. To this day, the cracked tablets of Georgia have not been officially attributed to any known civilization. They remain like fragmented messages, never fully delivered, lying silently in the mountains of the Caucasus. A haunting reminder that human history may still contain unwritten chapters or ones deliberately concealed. In the peaceful region near the town of Kanchanaburi, Thailand, famous for its majestic mountains and the tragic history of the bridge over the River Kwai, lies a natural phenomenon that continues to astonish both tourists and scientists, a stretch of road where vehicles can roll uphill on their own. Locals call it the magnetic path, but the strange thing is, there's no actual evidence of magnetism. But what do you think? Is this just a clever optical illusion? Or could there be something truly unknown at work here? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The phenomenon begins when you drive to this stretch of road and shift your gear into neutral, then release the brake. Instead of slowly rolling downhill, as gravity would dictate, the vehicle mysteriously rolls uphill. To the naked eye, the road clearly slopes upward, but sitting inside the car and watching this unnatural movement often gives people chills. The question is, what's really happening here? In many places around the world, this phenomenon is explained as a gravity hill, an optical illusion created by the layout of the surrounding environment that tricks our perception. Leaning trees, slanted structures, and an uneven horizon can make a downhill slope appear to be uphill. However, what makes the magnetic path of Kanchanaburi unique is that there's no physical evidence of a magnetic field existing in this area. Numerous research teams, including those equipped with magnetometers, have conducted surveys and measurements on site. Their results show that the magnetic field here is entirely normal. No geomagnetic anomalies, no iron ore or metal deposits underground, and no electrical currents or infrastructure capable of generating a magnetic field. If we call this a magnetic path, then clearly it's a misnomer because there's no magnetism whatsoever. And it's exactly this paradox that makes the place even more mysterious. Unlike other famous gravity hills around the world, which often have signs, tourist information boards, and clear explanations, this road in Kanchanaburi has no official signage whatsoever. You won't find it on maps or travel guides. Only locals know about it, passing the story by word of mouth. They speak of cars rolling uphill, of a chilling feeling when watching water flow backward, and sometimes of supernatural tales involving spirits or invisible forces that haunt the area. Some believe the area lies along a ley line, a supposed energy pathway that connects sacred sites around the world, often linked to unexplained phenomena. Whether it's just an optical illusion or something that defies current scientific understanding, the magnetic path of Kanchanaburi remains one of the strangest locations in Southeast Asia, where even the most basic laws of physics seem to falter. If you ever visit Kanchanaburi, take a moment to stop by the magnetic road and experience it for yourself. You may not find a definitive answer, but you'll certainly walk away with a story you'll never forget. Hidden beneath the rugged limestone landscapes of rural Croatia lies one of Europe's most enigmatic geological phenomena, the so-called silent pipes of Croatia. These mysterious underground stone tubes have baffled researchers, geologists, and historians alike for decades. At first glance, they appear to be simple, narrow tunnels, long cylindrical formations, bored through ancient rock with surprisingly smooth inner surfaces and consistent diameters, some stretching over 20 meters in length. But the deeper one looks the stranger they become. What do you think about these mysterious stone pipes? Are they a rare masterpiece of nature, or could they be remnants of an ancient structure long forgotten? Share your thoughts or theories in the comments below. Who knows, you might have an insight that scientists have never considered. What sets these pipes apart from other natural rock formations is not just their shape, it's the complete silence they maintain. Unlike natural echo chambers, volcanic vents, or karst caves that often carry sounds of wind or dripping water, these tubes remain acoustically dead. No echoes, no resonance, no vibration from the surrounding environment. It's as if sound itself refuses to pass through them. Yet when artificially tested with low-frequency vibrations, these pipes show unusual resonant behavior, reacting selectively to certain tones while dampening others. This has led to speculation that they were once part of an acoustic system, perhaps used in prehistoric rituals or even for some unknown form of communication. But this theory, like all others, runs into a major obstacle: the complete absence of any cultural or historical context. This is perhaps the most unsettling and unique aspect of the silent pipes. There is absolutely no historical record, no oral tradition, no myth, and no archaeological trace of human activity nearby. Unlike other ancient megalithic sites in Europe, from the stone circles of the British Isles to the cave temples of the Mediterranean, the region surrounding the silent pipes yields nothing. No tools, no bones, no pottery shards, no signs of settlement. Not even a faint carving on the rock face to suggest that anyone ever found these structures significant. This void of evidence has forced experts to consider uncomfortable possibilities. Could they be entirely natural, a rare product of unique geological forces, or are they remnants of a forgotten civilization, so ancient that all trace of its people has vanished? Some researchers propose that the pipes may have once connected to larger structures, now lost to erosion, or buried so deep they remain undetected. Others believe they were used briefly in secret for purposes we no longer understand: ritual sonic experimentation, or perhaps as a spiritual interface with the earth itself. Whatever their purpose, the silent pipes of Croatia remain an open question, a riddle with no language, a phenomenon that by its very silence speaks volumes about how little we truly know of our planet's hidden past. Hidden deep within the rugged limestone mountains of northern Laos, the Sleeping Vault of Laos, also known as the Sleeping Tomb, is one of the strangest and least known archaeological enigmas in Southeast Asia. Although its name evokes the image of an ancient burial site, this place defies every conventional definition of a tomb. No human remains, no ashes, not a single trace of a body has ever been found. All that exists is a series of meticulously carved rectangular niches in the rock walls, as if the site was prepared for a sacred ritual that never happened or is quietly waiting for a fateful moment in the future. What do you think this place was really meant for, if no one was ever buried there? Was it a tomb waiting for someone, a ritual site that was never used, or something else entirely? Share your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. There are no inscriptions, No decorative patterns, no cultural symbols that could help explain the true purpose of this place. Archaeologists refer to it as a sleeping tomb, not just because it was never used as a burial site, but because it resembles a body lying still, concealing its secrets beneath layers of ancient stone. Some speculate that it was meant for cremation rites or to house remains according to a now lost ritual. But if that's the case, why is there not a single bone, a speck of ash, or any organic material to date the site using radiocarbon analysis? What truly baffles researchers is the stone carving technique used to create these niches. Each chamber is square-shaped with a consistent depth of about 1 to 2 meters, and many are covered with stone slabs that appear to have been purposefully crafted. The interior surfaces are unexpectedly smooth and flat, almost devoid of the rough edges or tool marks typically found in ancient hand-carved structures. Composed primarily of limestone, a material softer than granite, but still requiring high-quality metal tools for precise work. These rock walls raise a profound question: who carved them? And what tools did they use when no evidence of metalworking iron tools or even bronze implements has ever been found in the area? The mystery doesn't stop there. The sleeping vault lies in an extremely inaccessible location, deep within dense jungle, surrounded by steep rock faces. Reaching it requires hours of trekking through thick forest and climbing rugged terrain. Constructing such a structure in a place so isolated, with no signs of habitation or nearby settlements, only adds weight to theories of some kind of secret or sacred ritual. Could this be a site meant for a one-time spiritual ceremony, or perhaps a waiting room for souls that was never used? With no organic remains, no ashes, wood, or bones, archaeologists are unable to determine the exact age of the structure. Some suggest it may have been created over 1,000 years ago, but without any physical evidence, it's impossible to confirm. Everything remains pure speculation, just like the elusive nature of the vault itself. To this day, the sleeping vault of Laos remains a completely unsolved mystery. No one knows when it was built, by whom, or for what purpose. But one thing is certain: the stone carving technique used to create these strange burial niches far surpasses what we'd expect from primitive tools, and may hold the key to unlocking a forgotten chapter in human history. In the ancient and mysterious land of Brittany, France, stands a stone pillar known by locals as the Crying Pillar. Roughly 1.8 meters tall and carved from coarse granite, this pillar has stood for centuries as a silent witness to history. But what makes it truly remarkable is not its age or rugged appearance. It's a strange phenomenon that defies all explanation. The pillar weeps. But what do you think? Why would a solid stone pillar cry with no source of water and no scientific explanation? Is it just a strange natural quirk, or could something deeper be at play here? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. At certain times of the year, even when the sky is clear, with no rain, no morning dew, and no unusual humidity, tiny droplets of water seep from the surface of the pillar, dripping down like tears. This happens cyclically, usually at sunset or dawn. And most curiously, it never affects any of the surrounding stones. This has left scientists thoroughly puzzled. Numerous geologists, meteorologists, and stone material experts have come to investigate. They've measured humidity levels, tested ambient temperature, searched for underground water veins, and even drilled into the stone to examine its internal structure. Yet every effort led to a dead end. No underground water, no capillary system, no cracks that could trap moisture and no plausible explanation. Some have suggested water condensation as a cause, but why does it only happen to this one pillar and never to any of the identical granite stones nearby? The truth is, conventional laws of physics and chemistry fail to explain what's happening here. As a result, the crying stone has become a challenge to modern science, as if it deliberately rejects all rational explanations, choosing instead to exist as a symbol of emotion, spirituality, and the unknown. The mystery deepens with the local legends surrounding it. Some say the pillar marks the place where a Celtic nun was wrongfully executed, and the water droplets are the tears of her tormented soul. Others believe it is the burial site of a betrayed Gaulish warrior whose spirit turned into stone, forever mourning in silence. Regardless of which story one believes, the locals view the stone as a living entity, a person who guards forgotten memories, grief, and mysteries that science may never touch. Today, the crying pillar is more than just a monument. It serves as a reminder that not everything in this world can be explained through reason. When nature chooses to behave beyond the bounds of what we know, perhaps the only thing we can do is quietly listen. Amid the remote mountains of Uzbekistan, a discovery once stunned the scientific world: an ancient lamp capable of glowing continuously for years without using any kind of fuel. No oil, no grease, no wick, no electricity, no batteries. This object, now known as the Oilless lamp of Uzbekistan, has become one of the great unsolved mysteries in the fields of archaeology and physics. But what do you think? If this lamp truly glowed without any fuel, what could have powered it? Was it lost, ancient technology, or just a misunderstood phenomenon? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The lamp was discovered inside an ancient temple deep within the Nabta mountain range during a mid-20th century excavation. Its exterior resembled traditional oil lamps from antiquity, featuring a dark gray bronze body etched with intricate patterns. However, what shocked researchers was the completely hollow interior. There was no compartment for storing fuel, no trace of any liquid, and notably no wick. Archaeologists confirmed the absence of soot ash or burn marks, typical signs found in conventional lamps. Despite this, records from local witnesses and the initial research team noted that the lamp had glowed continuously for many years, possibly even decades, without the need for refueling or maintenance. The light it emitted wasn't like fire. It produced no smoke, no heat, and didn't dry out the surrounding air. Some described the glow as soft, pale greenish blue, gentle and steady, bright enough to illuminate an entire room without causing glare. It closely resembled modern fluorescent light, but came with no visible energy source. The lamp's existence attracted serious attention from Soviet scientists. A team of physicists and engineers was dispatched to investigate, hoping to uncover its mechanism. Yet after months of study, they failed to identify any system inside the object that could produce light. There was no electrical current, no obvious chemical reactions, and no luminescent materials found. The final conclusion was stark. The lamp's lighting mechanism cannot be explained by current scientific knowledge. Even more strangely, the lamp vanished from the local museum in the 1980s. No records indicated its transfer or theft. Since then, no one has seen the object again. Some speculate it was hidden away in a secret research archive due to its immense and potentially uncontrollable technological implications. The Oilless lamp of Uzbekistan is not just an ancient relic. It challenges everything we know about physics, energy, and humanity's technological history. If it truly glowed for decades without consuming anything, then we must ask a serious question. Did ancient civilizations possess technologies far beyond our current understanding? To this day, the lamp remains a haunting question mark. It symbolizes something that shouldn't exist, yet did. More than anything, it forces us to humbly reassess the boundaries of modern science, because perhaps in the distant past, there once existed knowledge we are not yet ready to comprehend. The bone grid of Patagonia is one of the strangest archaeological mysteries ever discovered in South America. Located deep in the remote wilderness of Patagonia, Argentina, this site has astonished both scientists and paleontology enthusiasts. Not because the fossilized bones found here are particularly rare, but because of the way they are arranged. But what do you think? Could a pattern this precise truly be the result of nature alone, without any intelligent intervention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. Unlike any fossil bed previously discovered around the world, where bones typically lie in disarray due to time geological processes or scavengers, the bones in the bone grid appear in an almost perfect geometric pattern. From an aerial view, the site resembles a gigantic chessboard made of bones. Hundreds of fossil fragments, both large and small, are spaced evenly and arranged in uniform square grids as if intentionally placed. Some of the bones have been identified as dinosaur femurs, vertebrae jawbones of ancient mammals, and even wing fragments from prehistoric birds. All of them lie in straight lines, aligned along parallel axes, stretching nearly 100 meters in length and more than 80 meters wide, a layout completely opposite to the chaos typically seen in paleontological excavations. This peculiar arrangement raises a major question. How could such a level of order exist without intentional placement? Some scientists suggest it may be the result of a previously undocumented geological phenomenon. But this theory quickly runs into trouble, as there are no signs of drift erosion or tectonic disturbance that could have created such a linear structure. Even more surprising, researchers have found no evidence of artificial tools, cutting marks, or any signs of human handling, meaning there's no direct proof that humans arranged them. Still, the precision of the layout has led many to speculate that an unknown intelligence may be involved, or perhaps a natural law beyond current scientific understanding. Not only is the structure visually unusual, but the composition of the grid is also paradoxical. These bones do not belong to the same species. In fact, their ages vary by tens of millions of years. Some fragments date to the Pleistocene epoch, around 15,000 years ago, while others are dinosaur fossils, potentially 70 million years old. And yet all of them were found in the same sedimentary layer, with no signs of stratigraphic disruption or overlapping by tectonic activity. This raises an even bigger question: who or what could have gathered fossils from different time periods and laid them out on the same flat surface, as if creating a living fossil database? To date, the bone grid has not been officially published in any major scientific journals, partly due to a lack of consensus and the difficulty of verifying any proposed theories. Some experts dismiss it as a case of pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar patterns in randomness. But given the nearly perfect geometric repetition, the randomness explanation is increasingly difficult to accept. Whether it is the remnant of an undiscovered natural process, an ancient ceremonial site, or even a form of prehistoric fossil-based communication, the bone grid of Patagonia remains one of the most intriguing mysteries ever recorded in paleontology, and will likely continue to spark debate for years to come. Deep beneath the remote soil of Angola lies an unsolved mystery, what many now call the buried spiral city of Angola. ground-penetrating radar GPR scans have revealed a colossal spiral-shaped structure with perfect symmetry made up of multiple concentric rings stretching for hundreds of meters, concealed far below the untouched Earth. But what do you think this spiral really is? Could it be the remains of a forgotten civilization, or just a bizarre trick of geology? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. What's unusual isn't just the bizarre spiral form, but the material, or rather the absence of traditional building materials. There are no traces of stone brick concrete or metal elements typically found in any ancient structure, yet the formation appears clearly on geophysical scans as if it were built with some invisible yet incredibly durable substance. Geologists, archaeologists, and structural engineers are all stunned by the remarkable stability of this spiral, which may have existed for thousands, perhaps even tens of thousands of years. Some theories suggest the structure was formed using a special earth-compacting technique, possibly incorporating organic materials like ash clay, mixed with minerals, or even a lost prehistoric construction method unfamiliar to modern humans. This extraordinary characteristic, no visible walls, no stone framework, no tangible materials, has sparked intense debate in the scientific community. How could such a complex geometric system preserve its shape over millennia without collapsing, deforming, or eroding? It defies everything we currently understand about architecture and materials science. Could ancient people have used some type of natural compound, something that solidified over time? Or is this evidence of an advanced construction technique long lost to history, perhaps even one that predates known human civilizations? Unlike most archaeological sites that are accompanied by local legends or ancient texts, this buried city is entirely absent from any historical record, oral story, or cultural memory in Angola. It seems to belong to a civilization not only buried in earth, but erased from human memory itself. Moreover, the area exhibits unusual magnetic behavior. GPS devices and compasses often malfunction or give inaccurate readings, suggesting a possible underground magnetic anomaly or the presence of an unusual mineral substance beneath the surface. Although no formal excavation has taken place, the spiral city has already drawn global attention from both mainstream scientists and fringe theorists. Some believe it to be a rare geological phenomenon, but to those who suspect that many great civilizations have been lost to time, this might be one of the most compelling clues yet to a forgotten chapter of human or even pre-human history. The feather fossil without animal, a bizarre fossil discovered in Moldova, has puzzled the scientific community due to a rare paradox: an almost perfectly preserved feather, yet with no trace of the creature it once belonged to. Unearthed in paleontological sediment layers in eastern Central Europe, the fossil reveals a cluster of feathers clearly imprinted on a slab of light grey rock. From the central shaft, reaches the base calamus, down to the fine barbs, and even the delicate fringe along the edges. What do you think could explain this mysterious feather with no body? Was it from a creature we've never discovered, or could it have been separated before fossilization? Share your theory in the comments below. We're curious to hear what you think. What makes this fossil so extraordinary is not just the exceptional preservation, which is already rare for organic structures like feathers, but the fact that it stands entirely on its own. There are no bones, no soft tissue remains, no impressions or markings to indicate a body ever existed nearby. It appears almost ghostly, as if a part of a creature had been severed and fossilized, completely independent of all other evidence. But what's even more shocking is that this feather does not match any known species of feathered dinosaur or ancient bird. Over the years, paleontologists have compared its structure to feathers of Archaeopteryx, the famous ancient bird from the Jurassic, Confucius ornis, a primitive bird from China, and Microraptor, a feathered dinosaur from the early Cretaceous. Yet all comparisons showed clear differences in the thickness of the shaft-branching patterns and the way feather components were attached, none of them aligned with the Moldova specimen. Even more intriguingly, this feather displays morphological features never before recorded in any prehistoric creature. It appears too modern to belong to an ancient species, yet also doesn't match any existing modern birds. Bold hypotheses have emerged. Perhaps it's the remnant of an extinct species never discovered, or possibly evidence of a completely isolated evolutionary branch, one that never made it onto our known tree of feathered life. Some researchers questioned whether this might be an inorganic artifact, a mineral deposit that coincidentally formed a feather-like shape. However, microscopic analysis using electron scanning confirmed the presence of fossilized keratin fibers, the biological material unique to real feathers, confirming its authenticity. This only deepens the mystery if it is indeed a real feather, and if it truly cannot be linked to any known bird or dinosaur, then what kind of creature left it behind? Where did it come from? And why does only the feather remain? No body, no bones, not even a shadow of the animal. This is more than just a fossil. It is an unanswered question, a blank spot in the tree of life, and perhaps a key to a creature that humankind has never known. Lying silently among the vast limestone outcrops of Libya, a series of strange formations has puzzled researchers and explorers for decades. Known by the mysterious name, the limestone locks, these carved shapes do not resemble any known geological phenomenon. They appear to be giant locks meticulously cut into stone, shaped like U-channels, T-grooves, or mechanical guide slots, leading many to ask, who made them, nature or a lost ancient civilization? What do you think? Could these limestone locks truly be the work of nature? Or are we looking at the forgotten engineering of an ancient civilization? Drop your theories in the comments below. We want to hear what you believe. The first striking feature is the clear geometric precision of these structures. Deep squared cuts with perfectly rounded inner corners align consistently along certain directions, as if created by modern industrial cutting tools. Some grooves reach over a meter deep, several meters long, and show minimal signs of erosion. Their repetitive and consistent patterns suggest they were meant to hold or connect with something, perhaps locking pins, rotating shafts, or mechanical components of some kind. What truly baffles archaeologists and geologists alike and sparks the most debate is the complete absence of any tool marks on the rock surface. Across ancient monuments worldwide, from Egypt to Petra, one can easily spot signs of craftsmanship: chisel marks, metal hammer strikes, scattered rock debris, or micro-fractures from impact force. But in the case of the limestone locks, none of these signs exist. Every surface is strangely smooth, without scratches, cracks, or chipping typically associated with manual stonework. This isn't just an odd detail. It's a scientific paradox that forces us to ask, how could such elaborate cuts have been made without leaving a single trace? This single detail has elevated the theory of lost ancient technology to a new level. How could an unidentified civilization create limestone grooves that appear to be laser smooth, yet leave no evidence of the tools used? Are we seeing remnants of an advanced manufacturing technique far beyond what ancient humans are thought to have achieved? Or is this an extremely rare natural geological process, one that modern science has yet to replicate or explain? Some conservative geologists suggest that these grooves might have formed due to intense water flow during a wet climatic period tens of thousands of years ago. However, this theory struggles to explain the near-perfect uniformity of the channels, something rarely seen in chaotic natural environments. Moreover, the limestone locks are located in remote areas nowhere near major ancient settlements or known temples, which makes traditional explanations even harder to support. Not only are there no tool marks, but the limestone locks also appear completely absent from local legends, folklore, or historical records. It seems the local people have no cultural memory of these formations, as if they're a fragment of the past that has been cut off from human history itself. Today, these strange structures remain motionless among the sand and stone, like a sealed doorway waiting to be opened. They not only challenge our understanding of archaeology, but also pose a greater question: how much of humanity's past still lies undiscovered, hidden in plain sight? Amid the arid and mysterious landscape of Afar, Ethiopia, lie two strange bodies of water that locals call the Twin Blood Basins, two blood-colored twin lakes. In a land where nature is often raw and unforgiving, these vivid crimson lakes stand out like an open wound on the skin of the earth. But what truly sets them apart and has sparked intense scientific debate is the fact that they possess a deep red blood-like color without any trace of red algae, which is usually the main cause behind such colorations in lakes. What do you think could be behind the blood-red color of these lakes if it's not algae? Could it be a rare chemical process, something ancient beneath the surface, or something we're not ready to explain yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. In most cases, red or pink coloration in lakes can be attributed to Dunaliella salina algae or halophilic bacteria that produce carotenoid pigments. However, when scientists arrived on site and analyzed samples from these twin lakes, they found no presence of such organisms. The water samples showed no signs of the biological density associated with algal blooms. In fact, deeper analysis revealed no signs of microbial life whatsoever. The lakes appear to be virtually sterile and biologically dead. So, what gives the lakes their eerie red color? One leading hypothesis involves intense oxidation of iron compounds in the soil and subterranean minerals, triggering a complex chemical reaction with salts and unknown substances. But unlike ordinary rust-colored water, the red of these lakes is unusually dense, saturated, and stable. It barely changes over time, whether under scorching sun or heavy rainfall. Some research teams even attempted to filter the water through multiple layers of activated charcoal and limestone, yet the color remained, refusing to fade or weaken. This has led scientists to believe that this is no ordinary discoloration, but may involve rare and uncharacterized inorganic compounds, or even an extremely uncommon geochemical process taking place silently beneath the Earth's surface. The mystery deepens further when observing that although the two lakes are separated by several hundred meters and have no visible surface connection, they change color in perfect synchrony, turning red at the same time and shifting hue together with the seasons. This has led some geologists to suspect the existence of an underground hydrological system connecting the two lakes, regulating their chemical behavior. Yet to date, drilling explorations have found no conclusive evidence of such a link. To the local Afar people, the lakes are not just geological anomalies. They believe these basins are the remnants of a battle between ancient gods, where the blood of a war deity soaked into the earth and became eternal lakes of blood. To them, this is sacred and forbidden land no one dares approach, too closely draw water, or risk offending the spirits believed to dwell there. More than a geological curiosity, the twin blood basins represent a rare crossroads between scientific enigma and ancient mythology, a place where, despite all modern knowledge, humankind must still bow before a crimson mystery that burns in the heart of Ethiopia's scorched landscape. The Lightless Mirror of Tunisia is one of the most enigmatic and unexplainable phenomena ever recorded in the heart of the North African desert. Amid the harsh, sun-scorched and barren landscape lies a smooth, flat structure that resembles a giant mirror spanning several dozen square meters. Yet what makes it truly remarkable isn't its shape, but the way it defies all known scientific understanding. If you stumbled upon a mirror that reflected nothing, what would you believe? It was artifact alien technology, a portal. Tell us your theory in the comments. No idea is too wild. At first glance, it appears to be a polished slab of black glass. But when sunlight hits it directly, no light reflects back. There are no shadows, no mirrored images, and no glare, as if the surface is draining light away, leaving behind a perfectly still and dark patch of space. Locals refer to it as the cursed surface, while scientists have given it a more abstract name, the Lightless Mirror. What baffles scientists the most is the composition of the material itself. During an expedition in the early 2000s, an international research team carefully removed a tiny fragment from the edge of the mirror for laboratory analysis. But the results shocked everyone. The sample's structure did not match any known natural or synthetic substance. It was not basalt, it was not obsidian. It showed no trace of common minerals such as silicates, carbonates, or even metal alloys. Under an electron microscope, the material revealed a completely alien crystalline structure, one that does not exist in any known scientific database. Spectral analysis of the fragment showed extraordinary absorption across nearly the entire light spectrum, from ultraviolet to infrared, with almost zero reflectivity. Some researchers hypothesized that this could be a type of ultra-light-absorbing material even more advanced than current metamaterials being developed for stealth and invisibility technologies. But this raises an even bigger question. If that's true, why does it exist in the middle of the Tunisian desert, a region with no known advanced technology and no historical records indicating its creation or presence? Beyond its unexplainable material composition, the Lightless Mirror also exhibits several other strange characteristics. Its surface remains cool to the touch, even under intense desert heat. There are mild magnetic field anomalies detected in the surrounding area. The mirror lies near ancient salt mines believed to have been exploited thousands of years ago. These details suggest a possible connection between rare natural processes, lost technologies, or perhaps something entirely unnamed by modern science. To this day, the Lightless Mirror of Tunisia remains a stubborn mystery, impervious to sunlight and untouched by scientific explanation. Is it a remnant of an unknown civilization, a product of a freak geological reaction, or a structure that defies the physical and linguistic frameworks humans currently use to understand reality? No one knows, but one thing is clear: this mirror without light has carved itself into the map of Earth's greatest unsolved mysteries, and it won't be erased anytime soon. On a misty hillside in Jeju, far from the tourist trails and shrouded by dense foliage, lies something utterly out of place. It is called the Transparent Wall of Jeju, a name that barely captures the strangeness of what it represents. At first glance, it appears like a sheet of glass emerging silently from the earth, tall, smooth, almost too perfect. But it is what this structure lacks that truly haunts the imagination. What would you think if you stumbled upon something like this deep in the forest, a perfect silent wall, completely out of place? Could it be natural or something beyond human understanding? Let us know your theory in the comments below. Is it a geological fluke, an ancient relic, or something far stranger? There are no markings, no seams, no cracks, no tool traces, no sign that this wall was ever made in any conventional sense. Geologists, when they first encountered it, expected a kind of quartz vein or volcanic glass, but even under microscopic inspection, no signs of pressure, layering, thermal fracturing, or mineral buildup could be identified. The surface is unnaturally flawless, so much so that it reflects nothing clearly. Light seems to pass through, but not with the behavior of typical transparent materials. Instead, it diffuses subtly, like light filtering through thick ice or water vapor. Yet the surface remains warm to the touch, even in the cold. It's this combination of visual illusion and tactile contradiction that leaves observers disoriented. More unsettling, perhaps, is its lack of context. There are no ruins, no stones, no foundations around it, no cultural or geological explanation. It doesn't appear to be a remnant of any known civilization, nor is it situated near any fault line or glass-producing volcanic zone. It simply is. The most debated feature is the wall's fabrication, or rather, the total absence of any fabrication evidence. Archaeologists accustomed to identifying even the faintest tool marks, chisel scrapes, abrasion lapping, have found none. It's not just smooth, it's surgically pure, with edges so precise that even modern glass panels cannot compete. There are no fingerprints of intention, no human or natural story told on its surface, no beginning or end to its formation. Some speculate it's a natural anomaly, a geological freak event. Others suggest it's a material phenomenon we haven't yet classified, a transparent mineral formed under unknown conditions. But a small group of researchers entertain a more radical theory that this is not from Earth, or at least not from any known process on Earth. Could it be a remnant of a non-human intelligence? A kind of viewing pane, a seal, a message? Adding to the mystery are the electromagnetic disturbances recorded near the wall. Compasses spin erratically within a 2-meter radius. Drone sensors drop signal. Phones freeze. And yet there's no radiation, no heat plume, no measurable energy source. It's like standing next to something that isn't supposed to exist and yet stubbornly does. The Jeju wall remains untouched by time, weather, or explanation. A structure without purpose, a surface without story, a creation without creator. Deep within the remote jungles of Central Africa, where rivers vanish beneath the dense canopy and time seems to slow, an unusual stone slab was uncovered. It has since become known as the Broken Map of Zaire. At first glance, it appears to be a hand-carved ancient map. But upon closer inspection, every rule of geography and history begins to unravel. But here's the question that still haunts archaeologists and explorers alike. Who could have created a map like this, in a place so remote and in a time no one can trace? Could it be evidence of a forgotten civilization, or something else entirely? What do you think this map really is? Share your theories and thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what your mind sees in the mystery. The stone slab is nearly 4 centimeters thick and about 1 meter long, etched with intricate carvings of a complex river system. The strange part: many of the rivers depicted on this map do not exist on any modern map of Congo, formerly Zaire. Some of them might have been real, perhaps dried up or redirected thousands of years ago. Others have no known evidence of ever existing. Geologists suggest that the map may represent a prehistoric hydrological network, or perhaps a land that never appeared on any official record. The map is broken in two, so perfectly, it defies belief. A diagonal fracture runs from the top left to the lower right corner, smooth and clean, as if cut with a modern plasma tool. There are no natural cracks, no splinters or spreading faults. It didn't break, it was divided. Some researchers interpret this as a symbolic split, a deliberate division of knowledge, or perhaps a hidden land. Yet all of those mysteries pale in comparison to the carved symbol in the lower right corner of the map. It depicts a large central circle surrounded by three smaller concentric rings intersected by lines resembling clock hands. The symbol bears no resemblance to any indigenous motifs from Central Africa. It's not religious, it's not decorative, it doesn't match any known tribal or cultural iconography. Symbol analysts have compared it to an astronomical diagram, a temporal map, a field, energy grid. Some extreme hypotheses even suggest it could be an interdimensional marker, a twist point in the structure of reality, as if the symbol were a map itself, pointing toward a form of knowledge not meant for present-day humanity. Strangely, it is precisely at the location of this symbol where magnetometers register a slight fluctuation in the magnetic field distinct from the rest of the stone. Though faint, this fluctuation repeats rhythmically, almost like an electric pulse, frozen within the object, a lingering trace of energy possibly recorded thousands of years ago. No one knows who created the map. No writing, no date, no ties to any known civilization in the Congo region. What remains is the eerie presence of a fragmented knowledge and a symbol that might not belong to our world at all. Amid the frigid highlands of western Tibet, where the air is thin and nighttime temperatures can plunge well below freezing, there exists a strange phenomenon that neither modern science nor ancient beliefs have been able to fully explain. It is known as the fire-cooled stone, or simply the stone that always stays warm. Standing alone on a hillside near the sacred Mount Kailash, this rock has long drawn the attention of both spiritual pilgrims and geologists alike, for it seems to defy every known law of thermodynamics. But what do you think? Could this warm stone be a geological anomaly or something far beyond science? Drop your thoughts, theories, or even wild guesses in the comments below. We're curious to hear how you would explain the fire-cooled stone. The stone itself is modest in size, standing about 1.2 meters tall and just over 2 meters wide, with a smooth gray surface that looks like it's been polished by centuries of wind and time. But what makes it truly mysterious is the strange sensation of warmth when touched. Even in temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius, its surface remains almost comfortably warm to the hand. There is no frost, no snow accumulating on it, even though the surrounding landscape is buried under white. This anomaly makes it visually and thermally stand out in the snowy wilderness. Many visitors, upon first encountering the stone, assume there must be a geothermal spring or underground heat source beneath it. But when geological experts conducted field surveys, the results turned out to be completely at odds with conventional thinking. Modern geothermal measurement tools, including deep temperature sensors and ground-penetrating radar, clearly showed one startling fact: there is absolutely no source of heat beneath the stone. The soil beneath it is completely cold, consistent with the surrounding terrain. There are no underground cavities, no signs of ancient lava flow, and no unusual heat-conducting materials. In theory, this stone should be as cold as everything else in the area, but it isn't. This very fact, heat without an origin, has left many scientists baffled. Some temporary theories propose that the stone might absorb warmth during the day and release it slowly at night, but the warming effect persists even during long stretches of fully overcast days with no sunlight at all. Typical heat retention properties of rock cannot account for such persistence. Other hypotheses ranging from wind friction and local magnetism to natural radioactivity have all been tested and ruled out. None could explain what was happening. Local Tibetans have a different interpretation. They believe the stone is a remnant of the first fire from the sky, a celestial flame that fell to earth during the world's creation. Though merely legend, it's hard to ignore the strange sensation when standing near the stone. Some even report feeling a faint pulse like a heartbeat when touching its surface, a phenomenon no instrument has ever detected, but which those who experience it describe in awe. The fire-cooled stone, as its name suggests, remains there motionless and warm in defiance of both harsh weather and physical law. It stands as one of Earth's unsolved mysteries, raising not just geological questions, but also challenges to the limits of human understanding in the face of nature's wonders. Scattered across the arid plains and desert margins of northern Iran, a series of mysterious formations have baffled both scientists and locals alike. Perfectly circular dust rings etched into the earth, often appearing in clusters without any apparent cause or human involvement. These circles, some measuring over 30 meters in diameter, are defined by sharply outlined edges and a strangely consistent geometry. Despite exposure to harsh winds, erosion, and temperature extremes, they remain remarkably intact, as if protected by an invisible hand. What do you think created these perfectly shaped dust circles in such a wind-swept, eroded landscape? Could they be traces of an unknown natural phenomenon, remnants of a long-lost ancient structure, or something entirely beyond our current understanding? Share your thoughts or theories in the comments below. Every idea might be a clue that leads to a new perspective on this mystery. At first glance, one might assume these were remnants of forgotten agriculture, ancient structures, or military installations. Yet satellite imagery and on-ground surveys have ruled out such possibilities. What makes these dust circles truly fascinating is not just their appearance, but their orientation, or rather the lack thereof. Unlike many natural or man-made formations that tend to follow environmental logic, lining up with prevailing winds, water flows, magnetic north, or topographic contours, these circles exhibit no such alignment. They do not follow any pattern dictated by magnetic fields, gravitational anomalies, or known fault lines. Nor are they arranged in accordance with historical irrigation grids or tribal boundaries. In fact, some lie across uneven terrain, appearing partially embedded in slopes or ridges, while others rest on perfectly flat desert pans. This complete disregard for geographic or magnetic reference points leaves experts perplexed. Why would a series of rings, so uniform in shape, show such randomness in placement? One of the most puzzling aspects is that even modern mapping algorithms and AI-based geospatial tools cannot find a logical pattern that connects them. Their distribution seems immune to both chaos and order, neither fractal nor grid-based, neither random nor strategic. This has led some researchers to question whether we are missing a crucial environmental factor, or if these formations result from processes we simply don't understand yet. Occasionally, their centers contain shallow depressions or mineral patches that differ from the surrounding soil, raising speculation about underground gases, ancient geothermal activity, or even cosmic impacts. However, no consistent chemical or geological anomaly has been found to support these theories across all sites. Local communities, for their part, refer to them with a mix of reverence and caution. In folklore, they are known as the scars of the sky wind, an evocative term suggesting something divine or otherworldly etched onto the land by invisible forces. Some villagers have avoided building or farming near them for generations, fearing bad luck or mysterious illnesses. Whether these circles are natural, extraterrestrial, or something entirely man-made but forgotten, one truth remains: they do not behave as nature normally does. Their defiance of alignment of logic itself continues to fuel both scientific inquiry and folkloric imagination. In a world where GPS can pinpoint almost anything and AI can detect patterns in chaos, the dust circles of northern Iran remain stubbornly unclassifiable. High in the shadows of the Himalayas, where the wind carries prayers and secrets alike, lies a mystery no one has been able to decode. Not carved, not painted, not even visible unless the light touches it just right. Scattered across remote corners of Tibet are stones that appear utterly blank, until a beam of sunlight reveals something astonishing: intricate symbols glowing faintly on their surfaces. Symbols that disappear as quickly as they came, leaving behind no trace and no explanation. But the strangest part, these markings match no language, no religion, no culture, not Tibetan, not Sanskrit, not Egyptian, not anything. It's as if the earth is whispering in a language of light, and we've only just begun to notice. If you've ever encountered symbols like these, or have a theory about their origin, share your thoughts in the comments below. Could this be an ancient message, or a warning about something still hidden? Since the early 20th century, during expeditions into the remote mountains of Tibet, monks and explorers have reported a strange phenomenon. Certain stone surfaces that appeared completely smooth and featureless would suddenly reveal faint markings when struck by a narrow beam of late afternoon sunlight. In those fleeting moments, ghostly symbols emerged: circles, spirals, symmetrical lines, as if etched by light itself. But the instant the angle of the light shifted even slightly, the markings vanished entirely, as though they had never existed. No one could provide a satisfying explanation. Decades later, scientists used high-powered lamps capable of adjusting angle, wavelength, and color, and the results were identical. The symbols appeared only under extremely specific lighting conditions, as if an optical key was unlocking a hidden layer embedded within the stone's surface. A forgotten layer of memory waiting to be awakened by light that knows the code. One of the most hotly debated aspects of the light-only symbols in Tibet is the fact that they show no signs of being carved, etched, or painted using any known physical technique. When researchers examined the stones using electron microscopes, high-resolution 3D scanners, and advanced surface analysis technology, the results were astonishing. The entire surface of the stones was perfectly smooth, showing no scratches, cuts, abrasions, engravings, coatings, or any form of mechanical alteration. This means that these symbols were not created by hand with tools or through any known chemical process. Some physicists have proposed a bold theory that the internal crystal structure of the stone may have been reorganized at the nanoscale, causing it to reflect light differently depending on the viewing angle, much like how butterfly wings produce color through structural interference rather than pigment. However, even this theory remains unproven, as no significant structural anomalies have been detected in the analyzed stone samples. One of the most mysterious aspects of the light-only symbols in Tibet is that they do not appear randomly or in isolation. On the contrary, the same types of symbols, such as double spirals, concentric circles, Axis-based symmetrical patterns or eye-like shapes have been discovered on multiple stone surfaces across regions separated by tens or even hundreds of kilometers. This repetition suggests a clear intentionality, raising a major question: who created them and for what purpose? Interestingly, while some of these designs bear a superficial resemblance to meditative mandalas in Buddhism, none of the symbols fully match any known mandala systems or sacred geometric frameworks. Some of the markings display a level of geometric precision that is nearly perfect, something extremely difficult to achieve without advanced measuring tools. This only deepens the mystery and makes theories about their ancient origins even more vague and challenging to validate. Even stranger when exposed to different wavelengths of light, such as ultraviolet or infrared, some symbols vanish completely, while others transform into different shapes. This suggests a kind of adaptability, an optical reaction never before documented in ancient stonework. It has led some to propose bold theories. Could this be evidence of ancient light manipulation technology, or even some form of artificially encoded intelligence embedded in stone? One of the most confounding aspects for scholars studying the light-only symbols of Tibet is that they do not match any known system of language writing or symbolic representation in recorded human history. After years of analysis and cross-referencing, no linguist, symbologist, or historian has found a complete match between these symbols and any ancient manuscript or cultural script, whether from Tibet, China, India, Mesopotamia, ancient Mesoamerica, or any other prehistoric civilization. They are not Sanskrit, not classical Chinese. They don't align with Bond script or Tibetan Buddhist symbols. Nor are they Egyptian hieroglyphs, Sumerian cuneiform, or any recognized proto-writing system. Even abstract systems like alchemical signs, astrological glyphs, or sacred geometry show only superficial resemblances, and deeper analysis of proportion, structure, and usage context reveals stark differences. Some bold researchers have proposed that if these are indeed a form of communication, then they may originate from an entirely lost civilization, or perhaps even represent a non-verbal mode of thought, one that uses light in place of language. A form of transmitting meaning that the human mind today may not yet be capable of grasping or decoding. Inevitably, this leads to extraordinary theories. Extraterrestrial hypothesis. Some believe the symbols are markers or navigation guides left by an alien intelligence using optical cues rather than sound or carved markings to communicate. Lost advanced technology. Others suggest that the symbols were produced by a now-vanished civilization with the ability to encode light-responsive patterns into stone, a technology now beyond human reach. Spiritual energy imprint. Some Tibetan monks interpret the symbols as emanations, imprints left behind by higher states of consciousness or spiritual beings, visible only to those attuned to certain frequencies of awareness. Whatever their origin and whatever purpose they served, the light-only symbols of Tibet challenge our deepest assumptions about the past. They suggest that entire systems of knowledge and communication may have existed, but in forms we've never imagined, forms that require light to reveal themselves, and perhaps a shift in perception to truly understand. We may be standing before a language of light, undocumented, uncarved, unreadable in the traditional sense, a kind of ancient memory encoded in stone, activated only when the timing and illumination are just right. And that leads us to wonder, could Earth still hold messages meant for us, but only visible when we learn to see with the right kind of light? Beneath the fog-drenched canopy of India's northeastern rainforests, where sunlight barely pierces the moss-laden trees, something ancient stands silently waiting. Towering like sentinels in the mist, these upright columns appear to be stone until you touch them and feel the fibrous texture of root. Not carved, not planted, and yet they rise in perfect formation, humming with echoes of any sound made nearby. Villagers call them the ears of the forest, a name whispered with reverence. But to scientists baffled by their existence, they are a riddle wrapped in bark and silence, the echo root pillars of eastern India. What do you think about these mysterious echo pillars? Could this be a natural biological phenomenon or the remnants of a long-lost ancient technology? Share your thoughts in the comments below. At first glance, many would mistake these towering pillars for the result of geological forces, natural stone formations rising from the earth. However, upon approaching and touching their surfaces, a startling truth emerges. They are not stone, but hardened tree roots that extend from deep underground and connect seamlessly to the trunks of living trees above. Each root column stands between 2 and nearly 4 meters tall, with a diameter of about 20-30 centimeters. The base is buried firmly in the ground, while the upper end wraps around ancient trees still thriving in the forest. Some roots twist gently, spiraling like a screw, while others rise perfectly vertical like the columns of a forgotten temple. What's most intriguing is that no two roots are alike. Each one seems to possess its own distinct geometry, a unique design far beyond the usual diversity seen in natural plant growth. This is a phenomenon that defies explanation by mere observation. The acoustic phenomenon in this area truly exceeds all expectations. A simple clap or a soft whistle is enough for the sound to echo back clearly and directionally, as if you were standing inside a sealed cave or under an acoustic dome. In field experiments conducted by a research team from the University of Natural Sciences in Calcutta, they recorded anomalous levels of resonance with echoes lasting over 2 seconds and exhibiting distinct frequency variations. Especially at night, the effect becomes surreal. Even the faintest sounds, like footsteps or rustling leaves, are amplified, creating the eerie sensation that the forest is whispering something back. Local villagers believe this place not only transmits sound, but also remembers what you say, and then responds if you know how to listen. This is more than a natural anomaly. It carries a deeply spiritual and sacred quality. This is the detail that has driven scientists into a mix of skepticism and ore root samples taken from these echo pillars do not match any known plant species recorded in India, Asia, or even the global botanical databases. Under a microscope, their structure exhibits both typical plant cellulose and signs of molecular restructuring into crystalline networks similar to fossilization, yet not fully fossilized. Certain segments of the roots contain unusually high silica content, giving them a hardness comparable to granite, all while maintaining the rough exterior typical of tree roots. This leads researchers to wonder, could this be an entirely unknown species of tree, or the result of deep subterranean biological transformation under conditions never previously recorded? A bold hypothesis was proposed by Dr. Shyam Devra, a paleobotany specialist from New Delhi. These roots may be remnants of an ancient species that has survived for millions of years, only thriving in extremely rare microbiological environments, perhaps in soil containing mineral-transforming bacteria, or in highly alkaline groundwater that triggers selective hardening of plant cells. Any theory suggesting human involvement in the formation or arrangement of these root columns is quickly dismissed. There are no signs of carving, no tool marks, and no evidence of any artificial modification on the surface of the roots. Yet what astonishes scientists is the near-perfect alignment of the root pillars. Many grow perpendicular to the ground, and seem to correspond precisely with natural acoustic interference points in the area. This unexpected correlation led one archaeologist to exclaim, "It feels as if we're standing inside a form of natural bioarchitecture where life and sound coexist according to an intentional design." For local tribes like the Khasi and Apatani, this is not just a natural feature, it is a sacred space. They believe that ancestors can send messages through the roots, and that the forest itself is the ear of the heavens. For generations, they have never cut trees in this zone, nor made loud noises. Ceremonies here are performed in whispers, eyes closed, listening for the forest to reply. Folk tales speak of children who went missing, but heard their mother's voice calling them back, despite her being dozens of miles away. This spiritual belief isn't about explanation, it's about living with the forest as a sentient being. Several international research teams have begun conducting on-site investigations in these forests of eastern India, equipped with advanced tools such as LiDAR acoustic resonance sensors and non-invasive biological analysis systems. Among the various hypotheses proposed, one prominent idea suggests that this phenomenon is the result of a symbiotic relationship between tree roots and mineralizing bacteria, which alters the cellulose structure and causes a partial hardening effect. Others lean toward the theory of a natural resonance between soil trees and the atmosphere, prompting root growth along paths of acoustic diffusion, unintentionally creating echo effects. Some biologists have proposed that these structures may be the last living remnants of an ancient extinct plant species, surviving only within an extremely specialized micro-ecosystem, one that cannot be replicated in a laboratory setting. However, none of these theories can fully account for the phenomenon, especially the complete genetic and biological divergence found in the structure of these roots. Despite advanced technology and extensive lab testing, the echo root pillars remain an open mystery. No clear species identification, no definitive explanation for their hardened roots, and no satisfying answer to the unique sound behavior of the forest. In the age of scientific breakthroughs, perhaps it is the silence and the echoes within that remind us how much nature still holds beyond our understanding. Buried deep beneath the scorched hills south of Marrakech lies a structure that defies every expectation. No inscriptions, no relics, no treasure. Just a vault, sealed, fortified, and eerily empty. Archaeologists call it the coinless vault. For one simple reason: though it looks exactly like an ancient treasury, complete with thick stone walls, air-sealed corridors, and secretive compartments, there's not a single coin inside. Not even a hint of what it once held or was meant to guard. It has no name in historical records, no cultural fingerprint, no clue as to its builders. And yet it stands silent, untouched, and impossibly advanced for its time. So, what was this vault for? And perhaps more disturbingly, what was taken out of it before we arrived? What do you think? If this structure doesn't belong to any known civilization and its engineering is centuries ahead of its time, are we facing a hidden chapter of history, or are we simply not wise enough yet to understand? Share your theory in the comments. Who knows, you might just hold the key to unlocking this ancient mystery. The outer appearance of the coinless vault immediately evokes the idea of an ancient treasury. The structure is fully underground, with a narrow entrance hidden behind large slabs of stone. The inner chambers are connected by tight, angular corridors resembling anti-theft or defensive designs. However, despite thorough excavations and ground-penetrating radar scans, GPR, no evidence of stored items was ever found. All they uncovered were dry, dusty, empty rooms with perfectly cut stone floors and no signs of human activity or storage use. One early theory suggested it could have been a storage site for grain or military supplies in ancient times. But there were no remnants of fire pit seeds, containers, or wheel tracks, nor any transport equipment. If this was indeed a vault, it never held any goods. One of the most perplexing aspects of the coinless vault is its complete detachment from any known culture or historical timeline. In conventional archaeology, determining the origin of an ancient structure relies heavily on contextual clues such as fragments of pottery tool, remnants burial, remains inscriptions, or stylistic elements tied to specific civilizations. But here, none of those exist. The walls are bare, devoid of writing or iconography. There are no motifs linking it to the Islamic dynasties, Berber tribes, Roman settlers, or Byzantine artisans, all of whom had presence in this region. Even microscopic scans and chemical analyses have failed to uncover organic residue or carbon-datable materials. This absence of cultural fingerprint places the vault in a unique category, a stateless anomaly. Some researchers have proposed that it may have been constructed by a fringe or isolated group with no connection to dominant civilizations, perhaps for private rituals, hidden activity, or purposes deliberately kept out of the historical record. In essence, it is a structure that physically exists but has no cultural past. This is perhaps the most astonishing aspect. When structural engineers and archaeological experts analyzed the building methods used in the vault, they uncovered features that were shockingly advanced, even centuries ahead of anything expected in ancient North Africa. The stone used features a hard outer shell, but a lighter, porous inner body, perfect for regulating interior temperature, keeping it cool during the day and warm at night. This kind of purposeful insulation is a relatively modern concept in construction, yet appears masterfully applied here. Some walls are reinforced with large stones, interlocked in a zigzag pattern, dispersing seismic energy, a principle used in modern earthquake-proof buildings. But historically, southern Marrakesh is not known for strong seismic activity, so why build it that way? The interior corridors are designed with uneven vaulted ceilings, effectively cancelling echoes. Such designs are usually seen in spaces that demand silence or confidentiality, such as recording studios, isolation cells, or clandestine laboratories. Massive stone blocks are joined without mortar, and the seams are so tight that not even a razor blade can fit between them. This level of precision is reminiscent of structures like Machu Picchu or Inca walls in Peru, wonders that still defy full explanation. Another unusual aspect lies in the internal layout of the vault, completely contrary to conventional architectural logic. Instead of a recognizable central chamber or main hall, the entire structure consists of narrow branches leading to small empty spaces arranged in a maze-like pattern with no clear endpoint. This spatial organization makes it unsuitable for storage, impractical for habitation, and uncharacteristic of ritual use. Some experts suggest that this structure was never meant to be used in the traditional sense, but rather served as an outer shell for a much larger system hidden beneath it. Some even speculate that what we see is only the uppermost level, a disguised entrance to an undiscovered underground network. A range of theories has been proposed to explain the purpose of the coinless vault, spanning from the practical to the mystical. The practical theory suggests it may have been an abandoned structure never completed or used, which would explain the absence of material remains. However, the meticulous craftsmanship, from carefully finished stone walls and precisely arched corridors to seamlessly connected chambers, contradicts this idea, as there are no signs of halted construction. Some ancient historians lean toward the possibility that it served symbolic or ceremonial purposes, potentially tied to religion, esoteric philosophy, or long-lost ritual practices. Meanwhile, more speculative theories propose that it could be a storage site for ancient technology, a hiding place for extraterrestrial remnants, or even a laboratory of a forgotten civilization that predates modern humanity. To this day, the coinless vault has not been formally published in major archaeological journals, partly due to the lack of concrete evidence, and partly because it raises too many unanswered questions. The site remains preserved for ongoing study. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this structure isn't what it holds, but how it was built like a physical manuscript from a forgotten era, offering tantalizing clues to stories that were never written down. Buried deep in the forgotten heart of Central Asia, amid wind-scoured cliffs and sun-bleached ruins, lies a riddle carved in stone. Not in any language you've ever seen, not in any alphabet known to mankind. These are the blind scripts of Bactria symbols, etched by hands long vanished into rocks that whisper of a lost intelligence. No one knows who wrote them. No one knows what they mean. And unlike any other ancient script, they don't resemble anything else on Earth, not even remotely. Some believe they were sacred codes. Others say they were never meant to be read by human eyes. But one truth remains. This script defies all attempts to understand it, and may be the last trace of a civilization we never even knew existed. What do you think about this mysterious script? Could it be the remnant of a long-lost civilization, or a trace of a communication system beyond our current understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Can humanity ever decode the blind script, or will it remain a buried enigma in the heart of Central Asia forever? The most astonishing aspect of the blind script is this: it does not match any known alphabet writing system or phonetic structure in recorded history. It's not like the Rongorongo script of Easter Island, which at least shows recurring geometric motifs or animal-like symbols. It's not like the undeciphered Linear A of Crete, which has structural links to Linear B. The blind script stands completely alone. Its symbols have recurring geometric shapes, but no consistent patterns. Some resemble spirals, hooks, crescents, or double curls, yet they cannot be grouped into consonants, vowels, or tones like conventional languages. Some symbols repeat frequently, but the contexts in which they appear are so variable that no internal logic can be deduced. Experts in historical linguistics, ancient scripts, and Central Asian languages have spent decades analyzing these symbols. They've compared them with Sanskrit, ancient Greek, Avestan, Aramaic, Kharosthi Brahmi, and even the Indus Valley scripts. Yet all efforts have hit a dead end. There is no Rosetta Stone equivalent for this language, no bilingual texts, no cultural references from neighboring civilizations. It's as if this script is a voice from an entirely isolated world. What makes the blind script of Bactria even more perplexing is the complete absence of any evolutionary trail. In every established writing system, we usually find primitive forms, early scratch marks, simplified glyphs, or transitional styles that help trace its development over time. But the blind script offers none of that. It seems to have emerged fully formed, complex, refined, and deliberate. No earlier versions, no drafts, no regional variants, just a polished system with no past. This sudden appearance challenges the fundamental understanding of how human writing evolves. Some scholars now question whether it was ever meant for practical communication at all. Could it have been a ritual language, a symbolic code for spiritual use, or something created with entirely different intentions from what we call writing? One particularly puzzling aspect of the blind script of Bactria is that it is not linked to any known culture that ever existed in the region. Bactria was once a vital crossroads of civilizations between East and West, heavily influenced by the Achaemenid Persian Empire, the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom, the Kushan Empire, Hinduism, and Buddhism. Yet none of these civilizations left behind any form of writing or artistic expression that resembles or parallels this mysterious script. The stone slabs bearing the blind script are often found in remote caves, high, inaccessible rock niches, or abandoned dry wells, and notably no accompanying artifacts have ever been discovered. No statues, no pottery, no illustrative carvings, and no bilingual inscriptions. Nothing to provide context or comparison. This complete isolation has led many researchers to believe that the blind script was never a language used in everyday communication, but rather a sacred code, possibly used for ritual purposes or employed only by a very small, secretive group, one that may have vanished entirely from the pages of history. The term blind not only reflects the modern inability to read the symbols, but also hints at the script's strange presentation. Some inscriptions are carved vertically, some in spirals, and many lines overlap with no clear reading direction. Certain symbols appear flipped or angled erratically, as if the carver did not need to see clearly to write. This has led to the theory that the blind script may not follow the conventional writer-reader relationship and might instead serve a more abstract or symbolic purpose. One of the most controversial yet fascinating theories surrounding the blind script of Bactria is this system of symbols ever truly meant to be read by humans? Several independent researchers have pointed out some highly unusual features. First, there are no signs of grammar word morphology or logical structure elements fundamental to any known human language. Second, there's no trace of syllabic patterns, alphabets, or numerical systems. These are entirely absent. Third, some symbols are built with intricate three-dimensional spiral forms, extremely difficult to carve into stone, using ancient tools, yet they appear repeatedly with near-perfect consistency. These peculiarities have led some to propose a bold hypothesis that the blind script may not be a human language at all. It could be a form of meditative encoding, a metaphysical symbol system, or even a medium of communication created by some non-human intelligence. Although such ideas remain outside mainstream academic acceptance due to lack of concrete evidence, one fact is undeniable: the blind script of Bactria remains completely unreadable, unclassifiable, and disconnected from any known linguistic system on Earth. The blind script is not just a linguistic mystery. It is a monument to the limits of human knowledge. Each stone inscribed with these enigmatic characters is a question without an answer. Who carved it? For what purpose? Why was it engraved on isolated stone surfaces rather than transmitted through more typical means? Oral stories, paintings, or formal scripts? And most haunting of all, could it be the last remaining trace of a lost civilization, one that left its final messages hidden in a language we may never be able to read? Hidden among the parched hills of northern Tunisia, far from rivers' fault lines or ancient ruins, lies a structure so strange it seems almost impossible. At first glance, it's just a massive limestone dome, but step closer and you'll discover the impossible: a perfectly hollowed-out core, carved from solid rock, as if some unknown force had scooped it clean and left behind an empty echo chamber beneath the earth. What do you think about this mysterious structure? Could it be a freak accident of geology or a lingering trace of a forgotten age of advanced knowledge? Share your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you see in this strange and silent dome. One of the most bizarre features of the hollow stone dome in northern Tunisia lies in its very core, a massive block of limestone that appears completely solid, yet is mysteriously and perfectly hollowed out from within. From a distance, the dome resembles a natural rocky hill rising from the arid terrain, its pale ivory limestone reflecting the North African sun. But upon closer inspection, a narrow opening on the southern face reveals a shocking secret: the entire interior has been scooped clean, leaving a perfectly spherical void, completely empty, with inner surfaces so smooth they appear almost polished. There are no fractures, no stalactites, and no signs of karst erosion, features typically seen in natural limestone caves. The interior surface is so smooth that some experts have compared it to the inside of an egg, whose yolk has been completely sucked out, leaving only a hard outer shell. The hollow space has a radius of about 7 meters, large enough for 10 people to stand inside and still feel a sense of vast emptiness. Even more astonishing, there are no structural weaknesses, no signs of rock stress or collapse, meaning the entire stone mass retains its integrity despite having a large cavity carved inside, a fact that modern geology can scarcely explain with any known natural process. One of the most perplexing aspects of the hollow stone dome in northern Tunisia is the pattern of erosion found inside, completely contrary to natural expectations. When geologists scanned the interior walls using light sensors and microstructure measuring instruments, they detected clear signs that the rock had once been eroded. But instead of showing downward wear, as would be expected from typical processes involving water or wind, the erosion marks spread upward from the base of the dome. This suggests that if a liquid was involved, it didn't flow down from above. It may have been pumped up from below or generated by pressure from within the rock itself. There are no signs that water ever seeped from the top of the structure. This phenomenon of reverse erosion has led many experts to ask a troubling question. Could this be evidence of a completely unknown geological mechanism, or the long-lost remnants of an ancient technology now forgotten? One thing that has left scientists truly astonished is this: the stone dome has absolutely no natural entrance or connection to the surrounding geological layers. There are no ventilation shafts, no traces of underground water flow, and no links to any karst system, the typical terrain formed by water-eroded limestone. The surrounding rock appears intact with no fractures or collapses, making the entire dome seem as though it was placed into the earth in complete isolation. The hollow structure inside is not a leftover chamber from a collapsed cave system. It resembles a sealed architectural void, entirely closed off from the outside world. This total separation casts serious doubt on conventional geological explanations. If there was no water, no moving air, and no tectonic activity involved, then what or who created such a perfectly empty space inside solid rock? Another strange phenomenon inside the dome is the way sound echoes, unlike anything ever documented in a natural environment. When someone speaks, claps, or makes any noise inside, the echo doesn't just bounce once. It undergoes multiple layers of reflection, as if the sound is circling the chamber and returning from various directions. This effect creates the eerie sensation of standing inside a giant stone bell, where every sound is amplified and prolonged in an unusual way. Some archaeologists believe this phenomenon is not accidental, and if an ancient civilization once existed in the area, they might have discovered this unique acoustic property and used the dome as a space for rituals, chanting, or mysterious sound transmission. One of the most puzzling aspects of this hollow stone dome is that there are no historical records, folk legends, or religious texts that mention it, despite its highly visible location, proximity to ancient trade routes, and prominent appearance in the hilly terrain of northern Tunisia. Locals refer to it simply as the Hollow Stone, and most tend to avoid it, believing that the echoing sounds inside can leave a haunting effect on those who hear them. This total silence in the region's cultural memory has led many historians to propose bold theories. Either the dome is so ancient that it predates all known written records, belonging to a time before writing itself, or it was once a secret site of ritual or technological significance, deliberately erased from collective memory. The fewer who knew, the easier it was to keep it hidden. The combination of all these strange features, a perfectly hollow core inside a solid mass of rock, no natural point of entry, no connection to any known geological system, and bizarre acoustic effects, makes the water-hollow dome of Tunisia a phenomenon that modern science still cannot fully explain. Researchers are divided into two distinct camps. Some believe it may be an extremely rare form of geological formation caused by intense calcium dissolution, triggered by acidic gases rising from deep within the earth. But others argue that a structure so symmetrical, so perfectly rounded and isolated, cannot be the result of random natural forces. To them, the dome might be a remnant of intentional design, a colossal question mark carved into stone, waiting for future generations to uncover its true purpose. Deep within the wild forests of northern Myanmar, where muddy trails cut through dense vegetation and layers of untouched earth stretch back millennia, a discovery has left archaeologists and artifact researchers stunned. Dozens of fired clay objects shaped like mechanical gears. Even more surprising, these weren't found near the surface, but buried deep underground, between 3 to 5 meters down, within the same strata as prehistoric stone tools and primitive ceramic shards. These clay gears aren't just visually unusual. They come with an even greater enigma. They're made from an extremely rare type of clay with a strange microcrystalline structure and abnormally high resistance to heat and pressure. What do you think about these clay gears? Could they be evidence of an ancient technology we have yet to understand? Or are they simply objects that just happen to resemble mechanical parts? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This mystery needs many perspectives to be unraveled. At first glance, many might assume these clay gears are nothing more than a modern hoax, perhaps industrial parts accidentally dropped or misplaced. Yet the more closely one examines them, the more doubt gives way to astonishment. These circular gears feature evenly spaced teeth with astonishing precision. Their diameters range from 10 to 30 centimeters. Some have round holes in the center resembling axle points. More remarkably, a few specimens even include grooves or internal notches, clearly mimicking paired gears designed to interlock and transfer motion. Such shapes are no coincidence. They strongly suggest intentional mechanical design. But the most shocking detail remains the material. Every piece is made of fired clay. No one would expect in a remote mountainous region with no signs of industry to find objects bearing the form of modern machinery crafted from a material traditionally associated with primitive pottery. What puzzles archaeologists the most is not just the bizarre gear-like shapes, but the fact that they don't match any known culture that ever existed in Myanmar. Throughout history, from the ancient Pew city-states to the pagan dynasty and the highland ethnic groups, no civilization has ever left behind symbols, artifacts, or motifs resembling mechanical gears. There are no murals, carvings, ritual objects, or folk tales referencing circular shapes with evenly spaced teeth. Moreover, the fact that these objects were buried alongside stone tools and coarse pottery strengthens the argument that they are not modern items accidentally mixed into the site. This cultural misfit deepens the mystery. If they don't belong to anyone who lived here, then where did they come from? What truly astonished scientists was the strange nature of the clay material used to create these gears. When the samples were analyzed using electron microscopy and X-ray spectroscopy, results showed that the clay did not match any known soil or mineral samples from the discovery site, a major anomaly in archaeology. Its particle structure was extremely fine, approaching microcrystalline levels, granting it exceptional compression resistance and crack resistance far superior to typical clay materials. More notably, traces of the mineral mullite were detected, an element that only forms when clay is fired at extremely high temperatures over 1400 degrees Celsius, far beyond the capabilities of any traditional ceramic technology known in Southeast Asia. Furthermore, the surfaces of the gears showed signs of repeated thermal treatment, enhancing their hardness to a level comparable with modern technical ceramics. This raises a serious question. Could a culture with no known record of high-temperature kiln technology have produced material of such advanced quality? Some theories suggest these artifacts may have been brought from elsewhere through ancient trade routes, but this still fails to explain why they do not match any known design or cultural features anywhere in Southeast Asia. The greatest question posed by these clay gears lies not merely in their shape or material, but in the very meaning of their existence. The academic community remains deeply divided. One side argues that they could simply be clay toys or basic utilitarian objects, with their gear-like appearance being purely coincidental. According to this view, ancient humans often created strange shapes without functional purpose, and these clay gears might just be another example of such creativity. However, the opposing side, including fringe researchers, insists that this cannot be a coincidence. The geometric symmetry, the remarkable precision in the gear teeth, and the clay's extraordinary durability all point to a deliberate design far beyond the known capabilities of traditional civilizations in the region. Some even pose a bolder hypothesis. Could these be remnants of a long-lost prehistoric civilization, one that had mastered high-temperature material technology we are only beginning to rediscover today? A small group of alternative theorists goes further still, suggesting that these gears may be fragments of a technological knowledge wiped out by a global catastrophe, or even more controversially, faint evidence of extraterrestrial intervention that history has long overlooked. To this day, no major museum or archaeological institution has issued an official conclusion regarding these strange clay gears. They remain a source of ongoing controversy within the academic community, frequently brought up at Southeast Asian archaeology conferences as one of those difficult cases no one wants to touch, yet no one dares to ignore. What was once dismissed as harmless pieces of fired clay has now become a key fragment, opening a far more complex maze of questions. Who created them? How, for what purpose? And if these are merely isolated components of a larger mechanical system, then where is the rest of that machine still buried and waiting to be uncovered? The silence from scientific institutions only adds to the allure of the mystery, like a quiet challenge issued to the minds bold enough to break free from conventional thought. In the frozen wilderness of Lapland, far removed from any trace of ancient settlements, a strange discovery was unearthed beneath the permafrost. Large copper discs, warped and dented as if struck by an invisible force. They bear no inscriptions, no handles, and serve no clear function, yet their method of construction completely contradicts every known technique of ancient metallurgy. They are not weapons, not tools, not ritual offerings. And the most unsettling part, they appear to have never truly been made at all. Smooth, seamless, and alien in design, these dented copper shields offer no clues, only deeper questions. Who left them in this icy void? And how could such objects exist in the first place? What do you think? Could this be the remnant of a forgotten prehistoric technology, or proof of a hand at work, one that doesn't belong to any history we know? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Despite their seemingly simple form, the dented copper shields of Lapland defy conventional explanation. These disc-like artifacts, measuring 60 to 80 centimeters across, are flawlessly rounded with smooth edges, yet conspicuously lack handles, grips, or any attachment points, features expected of functional combat shields. More puzzling are the deep, bowl-shaped dents embedded into their surfaces. These dents are not the chaotic marks of battle, nor the scuffs of clumsy transport. Instead, they exhibit an eerie uniformity, broad, symmetrical, and forcefully sunken, as if the entire surface was pressed inward by an immense, evenly applied force. In some cases, the indentation consumes nearly a third of the shield's area, yet the surrounding rim remains remarkably intact. This suggests that the copper alloy is not only exceptionally resilient, but that whatever deformed it did so without shattering or cracking the structure. It's a level of material response inconsistent with anything expected from ancient metallurgy, and it raises a deeper question. What kind of force, natural or artificial, could cause such damage without breaking the artifact? One of the most baffling aspects of the dented copper shields of Lapland is the unusual location in which they were found. Unlike typical ancient artifacts often discovered in old settlements, burial sites, or cultural ruins, these shields were found in complete isolation, scattered across glacial valleys where no evidence of human habitation has ever been recorded, not even in prehistoric times. Some were unearthed deep beneath the permafrost during climate core drilling operations, lying up to 2 meters below the surface. This raises an undeniable paradox. Who carried these heavy copper objects into such remote frozen wastelands, and for what purpose? There are no traces of camps, tools, or human remains nearby. It's as if these shields were never meant to serve anyone at all, but instead were left behind intentionally, or not to be forgotten in the eternal snow. But the most confounding aspect of all is not where the shields were found, or even their peculiar shapes, but how they were made. Virtually all ancient metal artifacts bear clear signs of manufacturing: hammer strikes, chisel marks, seams, folded edges, or tool abrasions. Even the simplest ancient tools left mechanical traces. This is especially true for copper, a tough but workable metal that almost always reveals signs of manual shaping or forging. Yet the Lapland shields are completely smooth. Their edges are clean and uniform, almost as if cut by laser, something utterly impossible with Bronze Age technology. Their concentric curves are nearly perfect without warping or distortion. The surfaces lack hammer marks, tool scars, or the ripples you'd expect from hand forging. Under electron microscopy, the oxidation layer reveals that the copper isn't modern, industrial alloy, but it's also not traditional ancient copper smelted from known local ores. Its internal crystal structure indicates the material was formed under incredibly stable heat and pressure conditions, achievable only with highly controlled industrial processes, or through some unknown technological method. Swedish metallurgist Lars K. Mortensen, after analyzing one of the samples, concluded, if this was made during the Bronze Age, they used no hammers, no forges, no known methods. In other words, this is an object that was never made in any way we currently understand. Another major mystery lies in the very composition of the metal used to create these shields. Atomic spectral analysis reveals that the copper in these artifacts does not match any known ore deposits in Scandinavia or even across continental Europe. In addition to pure copper, the shields contain trace amounts of tellurium indium and antimony, rare elements typically associated with highly controlled modern refining processes. This combination is entirely uncommon in any known ancient metallurgical techniques. This raises a deeply challenging question. If the copper did not originate from this region, then who brought it here, and for what purpose? One surprising detail is that within the rich body of Sami folklore, the indigenous people of Lapland, known for their tales of forest spirits, ice gods, and mystical rituals, there is absolutely no mention or oral tradition relating to these dented copper shields. No rites, symbols, or myths reference any object resembling them in form or function. A few of the shields do bear faint markings that resemble symbolic lines, yet they do not match any known writing system or ancient religious iconography. It feels as though these artifacts exist not only outside of recorded history, but beyond the very imagination of the people who have lived in this land for generations. Many theories have been proposed to explain the origin of the dented copper shields of Lapland, yet most lead to dead ends. Some conservative scholars have suggested that the shields might be fragments of modern machinery objects, deformed and then frozen over time. However, this idea was quickly dismissed after oxidation analysis revealed that the artifacts are hundreds, if not thousands of years old, far older than any modern device. Bolder theories propose that these could be failed remnants of a forgotten prehistoric civilization. Yet there is no supporting evidence, no tools, no debris, no related ruins. Perhaps the most intriguing hypothesis suggests that these shields were not shaped by physical tools at all, but by some unknown form of energy, possibly intense sound waves, powerful magnetic fields, or another type of non-contact force that deformed the metal without breaking its structure. To this day, the dented copper shields of Lapland remain unsolved. They lie scattered in the ice, untouched by time, as if whispering a message from an age or a maker that left no other trace. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of these objects is not their metal nor their dents, but the total historical silence that surrounds them. No one remembered them. No one wrote about them. No one knows why they exist. Beneath the burning skies of southern Arabia, in one of the driest, harshest deserts on Earth, lie a series of colossal spiral wells, silent, symmetrical, and carved deep into ancient bedrock. No writings, no artifacts, no clues about who built them or why. They don't collect groundwater. They don't lead to buried tombs. Instead, they seem to harvest fog from the air itself, like a forgotten form of biotechnological survival etched into stone by hands no one remembers. Locals avoid them. Historians are baffled, and geologists can't explain their structure. Are they remnants of a lost civilization, a message left in stone, or something even older? This is not just an ancient mystery, it's a direct challenge to our understanding of history. What do you think? Are these spiral fog wells a brilliant survival invention or the remnants of an unrecorded civilization? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From above, the spiral wells of Yemen look nothing like any ancient well we've ever known. Instead of simple circular holes, they appear as massive stone staircases spiraling down into the earth, each twist laid out with perfect symmetry. The slope of each step is eerily consistent, leading many to suspect that the structure must have been created with precise surveying tools, something seemingly impossible for ancient builders. The steps are carved continuously in one direction, forming a pathway that guides moisture or fog to collect and flow down to the bottom. Most striking of all is the level of craftsmanship. The stone blocks are sharply cut, fitting together without mortar or any visible binding material, much like the mysterious construction techniques seen in Egypt or Peru, structures so advanced that even today we struggle to recreate them. This is arguably the most controversial and puzzling aspect of these wells. There are no documents, inscriptions, symbols, or folklore referencing their construction. No one knows exactly who created them, when they were made, or even why they exist. Geological surveys of the surrounding area reveal no cultural context, no signs of settlements, no tools, no remnants of human activity. This leaves researchers baffled. How could such refined structures exist in complete isolation with no trace of a society to support their creation? Some scholars even speculate that these wells may predate the known history of Arabian civilizations, potentially originating from a lost culture that left no records. Attempts to carbon date the rock around the wells have proven inconclusive, as the structures are carved directly into solid bedrock, offering no organic material for testing. This makes determining their age virtually impossible. Locals sometimes refer to the builders as those from before, but no one remembers exactly when or who these mysterious people were. Mystical legends only deepen the ambiguity, hinting at ancient beings or forgotten rites, but offering no concrete answers. These wells are located in some of the driest regions of Yemen, where rainfall is scarce and groundwater is nearly absent. Yet remarkably, it has been discovered that at night, fog from the sea or humid air drifts into the wells, condensing along the cool stone walls and dripping down to collect at the bottom, where a thin layer of water is often present year-round. If intentional, this would represent an extraordinary survival strategy. Whoever built the wells may have understood the principle of nighttime condensation from cold air, a concept only recently used in modern fog harvesting technologies. Thanks to their spiral shape, the interior temperature cools gradually with depth, creating ideal conditions for moisture to condense. The inner stone walls are smoothed, guiding water toward a central basin. Every detail suggests this is no accidental formation, but rather a deliberately engineered structure surpassing the known technological capabilities of ancient peoples. Some independent exploration teams report that their compasses spin erratically at the bottom of the wells, a phenomenon not yet widely verified, but intriguing to geophysicists. Additionally, when a person stands at the well's center and makes a sound, the acoustics produce three-dimensional echoes with no clear point of origin. The reverberations do not return from a fixed direction, but seem to bounce from all around, disorienting the listener. This may be explained by the enclosed spiral shape and unique acoustic profile, but further study is needed to understand the full mechanism. To date, over 14 such wells have been discovered scattered across central and southeastern Yemen. They vary in depth and diameter, but all share the distinctive spiral staircase design with stone-carved grooves and a basin at the base for water collection. None of these wells are used in modern life. They've been abandoned, partially buried by sand, or regarded by locals as sacred places not to be disturbed. Curiously, there are no crude or unfinished versions, no prototypes, no half-built wells, like one might expect during a technological evolution. Each appears as if it were crafted by a hand that had long mastered the technique. In the absence of archaeological data or historical context, many theories have emerged. They could be the work of an unknown ancient civilization with advanced environmental engineering skills. They might be ancient weather stations used to measure fog or humidity for ceremonial purposes. Perhaps they were spiritual convergence points used in rituals to commune with natural forces. Some fringe researchers suggest they are remnants of pre-human or non-human technology built with lost methods we can no longer comprehend. Regardless of the theory, one truth remains: no one knows for certain where these wells came from or why they exist. The spiral fog. Wells of Yemen are not merely mysterious structures, they are mirrors reflecting the gaps in our historical knowledge. They remind us that even in a world we think we've thoroughly explored, unanswered questions persist, and some creations defy our timelines, taxonomies, and logic. Perhaps these spiral wells are the whispers of a forgotten civilization, carved into the desert stone as a riddle no one has yet solved.